Welcome everybody to Late Night 233. My name's Nate. I'm here with Dario. Dario, how's it going?
I'm doing good. You?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. Excited for some Pokemon action, like every week.
Yes, sir. We are starting off our top cut here, our top 16 as usual. This is going to be an interesting one. A lot of variety in the decks as well. A lot of the classics that we have. You got your Dragos, your Guardies in the top 16 is as expected. But one little surprise that I definitely didn't expect to see was Banette Dusknoir. It's
Which
currently in the
is
top 16.
indeed what we're going to take a look at here. It's also the day of Charizard, it seems like.
I love me some Charizard. I am down. So these people most likely preparing for Birmingham. This is the EU wave of the late night for today. Birmingham going to happen this weekend, and we are starting game one. Ooh, Spiritomb starter from the Bennett side.
And Lugia here starting Iron Hands. Not exactly what you want to see. But we do have the Squawk and Seas to maybe find an out here. We need to find the Lugia. Ultra Ball, I guess, gets us there. It's not exactly what you want, but
Ultra Ball isn't exactly what you want, you're right. But Squawk thankfully discarded Double Chop, so that's pretty much half the combo right there.
you
We're
win
going
some, you
to,
lose some, yeah.
yep, we're gonna bench this Lugia V and end the turn. Most likely next turn is just going to have to be like a Jet Read the Wind, that Spiritomb, putting in a lot of work, making this Luminion uh, not turn into a researcher on Iono that would get a lot further than just a Read the Wind here. So now, I am by no means a Banette expert, but I can't imagine this matchup is too great. Obviously, Banette, a deck that relies a lot on item lock, and that's kind of its whole thing. But Lugia, outside of like turn one, doesn't really care about items, right? It's one of the reasons why people are getting really excited about it into the next format, where Badoo is going to be a much stronger card. Um, so I can't imagine this is a matchup that our Bennett player here is excited to see. But I can also see some stuff. You got the Dusknoirs, maybe like, you know, punch Archeops, Dusknoir it, Alakazam math, maybe, you can transfer 2 from the Alakazam, plus 130 does kill the Archeops. So,
Right.
it's
It's not
definitely
going to be what you
realistic.
want to see, but there are some tricks, perhaps.
hmm
But
But
especially with
yeah,
this start, having the both Archeops in the bin already, the item lock really does not seem like it's going to help at all here. So
yeah, we do see the Pokestop get played. I wonder if we're going to see our Lugia player spin it. I mean, he is in need of an out to Lugia V-Star on this follow-up turn.
right, we have the Luminion
Also,
to search for some card draw with the supporter, but
no, because the Spiritomb is in play.
oh, right.
Yeah, that's why the
Totally right.
Spiritomb is so big in this matchup.
Okay, so maybe the Bayonet has a little bit of time here.
Yeah.
The problem again being, what can we do at this time? They're going to go into the Shuppet here.
Like this, we're doing the coin flip. So if you don't know what Shuppet's attack is, 10 damage, flip a coin. If heads, we see item lock, which we do. So even if we were to spin the stop or top deck an Ultra Ball, we cannot get Lugia V-Star down. We're top decking research though.
That'll do, probably here. Attach the Legacy Energy.
hmm Yeah, just rip the research. This puts a lot of pressure if he's able to find the V-Star, which he does.
Yikes.
We're finding the V-Star, we're getting the chops down, we're going to get this Ampu very much for 2, and already off to a pretty good start.
An amp for 2 prizes and no clear follow up of how to deal with it leads into another amp for 2 prizes, probably.
Yep, most likely. We do see as well Messagoza in hand, so that's an out to bumping the Pokestop. We're using it right away, yep. So now, if you're uh, if you're the Bennett here, I don't even know what you can do. Because I mean, hitting this Iron Hands for 30 and item locking really doesn't feel great, because at this point, um, our Lugia friend isn't getting much value out of his items anyways, right? All he's really going to want is boss. Um, but what else can you do? Maybe double Dusknoir the hands, but you only got 1 in play.
Yeah, I don't know. What does the Latias attack do? Is that ever a thing? Let's see.
It's 200 can attack next turn if I remember correctly. So it's
Not enough damage, really.
Yeah, I don't know how we're charging it up either. It's pretty tough, but again, I have no clue how to play Bennett. It's a pretty tough deck, and I feel like you kind of got to be dedicated to Bennett to to be good with it. You know, we've seen a lot of players historically kind of just stick to Bennett and do their thing, but they're kind of the only ones playing it. You know?
Right. And very meta dependent as well.
Oh, of course.
As we
Also,
saw, Ampy very much for 2 prizes. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say also kind of like gonna be outshadowed and literally tomorrow on live. So maybe this is just he's like, let me just play it before everyone has item lock.
One last hurrah.
Yeah, exactly.
They were counter catching up an Archeops. Maybe leave this a little trapped, force them to use some energy in ways that they wouldn't really want to, but double Primal Turbo will get us out of a lot of situations here.
Yeah. Importantly, we didn't see a Minchino get benched, which means this Bennett is safe for a turn, right? I mean, unless we do some wordier shenanigans, but then that's pretty costly on the energy. We do see
Double
Jet
boss.
Boss. Jet to get the hands in the active and Boss to get the Bennett out of his active, so that's pretty tough. But Iono kind of giving Lugia here everything he needs to be able to keep up the pressure. Even maybe, if he really wanted to, take 3 prizes next turn on that Squawkabilly. So we are just seeing an Everlasting Darkness. No items to be played, so this Ultra Ball is obsolete. But does it
When you
really
have it,
matter?
you have it. Yeah.
Does it really matter?
Get their choice of target with these double boss. So you could just boss into boss if the hand isn't disrupted over the course
Yep.
of 2 turns to win the game here.
Yep. And most importantly, now we don't even need to go through a 2 prizer now since we're taking these 3. Something as simple as just, you know, bossing a Duskull can do it. So we're not worried about hitting some big 350 damage special roll. You know, pretty good position to be in if you're our Lugia player here.
Yeah, it should be a simple cleanup of the game here. It's when you get 2 Archeops into the discard turn 1 and then magically find the research to find the V-Star on turn 2. This is the power of Lugia. When they draw
Yeah.
the right cards in the right order, it's almost unstoppable.
Yeah, that top deck research definitely came in clutch because, I mean, if it was a top deck Ultra Ball after getting item locked, so we're passing for another turn. Maybe Bennett can start setting up some Dusclops, maybe double KO your double Dusknoir your only Lugia. But nope, we didn't see that. When Lugia gets off the ground, it's a very good deck.
And in this field, I talked about it being the day of Charizard. These decks that are good against Charizard doing very well, it makes sense. Makes a whole lot of sense.
Yep, we could see, especially because we do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 Charizards in the top 16 here. So I'm definitely happy if I'm playing Lugia, if I can maybe go all the way, just keep hitting into some Zards. There's also Drago's a pretty good matchup. Pidgeot Control is classic. Like Lugia is kind of the classic counter to Pidgeot Control, so maybe
Especially with
Lugia can have a deep run.
most control lists not playing Giacomo anymore. That Giacomo
Mhm.
can kind of ruin stuff every once in a while, but
Yeah. We do see the second Psychic get attached to this Bennett here. We could see a Poltergeist 60 times every trainer in the Lugia player's hand, which would be a 240 damage attack here for the knockout, but again, only taking 1 prize. We see the boss,
yeah,
so
if it
boss
doesn't
is
get
just,
disrupted.
yep, so we do see the Poltergeist, and this should just be a clean promote Lugia V-Star. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Bennett here just sees that the Lugia has boss in hand and just scoops it up. Because you do get hand knowledge
Yeah.
after the Poltergeist.
Got to make sure we're all playing by the rules. They are actually trainer cards, you know?
Yep. And there you go. So this should be game 1. Go into Lugia V-Star. Showing what the deck does best. Turn 2 chops, turn 2 Lugia V-Star hitting the board.
I
Pretty
like
simple game there.
I like that Live was trying to make sure is you could attach more energy. Are you sure you want to win the game? Like,
You sure you don't want to attach this a DTE to this Lugia? Maybe, give him an extra turn to play. Yeah, 5 prizes still left on the Bennett side. That was kind of a steamroll.
Yeah, this was Lugia going first, which always is
Mm-hmm.
the best for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, they're just hunting down that summoning star turn 2, and if it gets going, it's pretty strong. Now, what adjustments would you like to see maybe if you're the Bennett player? What are you maybe looking towards doing to try to stop that steamroll from happening again?
I think it really was just poor timing that game. You know, that one
Mm-hmm.
turn where we drew the professor's research. If that had been any other item card, then there was a decent chance of Bennett kind of entering the game. So maybe with the extra turn from going first, maybe with some better timing or worse top decks,
Mm-hmm.
the item lock strategy can actually hinder Lugia a little bit. They can get started.
Yeah, I think the going first versus going second is interesting because we do see our Bennett player here has 2 copies of Salvatore, which is a card that we basically never see, but it allows you to evolve your Bennett on your first turn going second. So this build is probably, and plays 3 Call Bell as well, I just realized. So I think his build is trying to go second, but do you let Lugia have 1 free turn of items? Do you let him, you know, do what he wants to do? Start? We'll see. If coin is flipped tails, curious to see what Bennett chooses here. And he will
They're
go
going
first.
first, yeah.
So Call Bell is going to be essentially useless in this game. 3 dead cards in the deck. And this is a much, much better start if you're the Bennett player. Obviously, doesn't have access to Lugia player's hand, but this hand,
You see the weird deer in the active and you know something's wrong a little bit.
yeah, something's wrong. Especially if Spiritomb can get benched here. This Ultra Ball can't turn into a Luminion to turn into an Iono to reset the hand. So it's Ultra Ball for Lugia V. Read the Wind.
You can still Squawk and Seize here. There's the Poffin that can get our Spiritomb. Unless it's prized, of course. But we're doing an initial deck check here. Well, they did the Ultra Ball already.
Uh-oh.
There's
That
some sort of
would be
decision being made, yeah.
maybe debating as well. Do I get a second Shuppet? Do I get more Duskulls? How aggressive do you want to be in this game? Second Shuppet and the Spiritomb gets benched. Also, importantly, shutting down Word Deer V's ability, which is pretty huge because if there's no Minchinos, if you're able to just Dusclops the Minchinos, or sorry, Dust and War the Minchinos, you know that your Bennett's safe, since Word Deer can't just collect all those energies from everybody else. He is a basic V. That's going to be a pass. Pretty solid turn 1 here. Top deck research again might come
Jeez.
in clutch.
You are throwing away a lot of resources with this
Yeah.
research if we do.
I mean, first thing we got to check for is do I have the third Lugia V, V Star, sorry, in the deck, which we do. If the third Lugia V Star was prized and you end up using this research, you kind of just lose on the spot. I'm not sure you can win without Summoning Star. It's kind of the whole point of your deck.
Hitting the stop here is Lugia. 3 dead cards? Yep, that happens so often. It's
Ouch.
so scary.
Yeah, you just play so little items. Realistically, there's just like the 4 chops would obviously be nice to hit, but it's kind of a pipe dream, right? We do see the research getting played, so that is down at 2 Lugia V-Stars. Our outs to the V-Star are getting a little tight. It's capturing Aroma, hopefully hitting heads, so we can discard one of the Archeops with this Read the Wind. But
Other
nope,
tails.
it is Tails.
Could get a rat.
Could get a Rat, could get a Squawk. Could get a second Lugia. even Wellspring Ogerpon in this situation, not in this particular situation, but in this matchup, I can see it being pretty good, especially if you get a first attack, kind of just wipe all the Shuppets off the board, maybe even kill the Spiritomb for later.
Minccino is the choice here with the Cinccino in hand.
Makes a lot of sense. It applies the most pressure, plus the second Lugia V down, so we are safe if this first Lugia does somehow get knocked out through a Dusknoir plus Poltergeist, maybe. Read the Wind still not getting us Archeops or a way to discard Archeops. We did see Jacques as well get discarded from the Pokestop, which is one of your best ways to get those two Archeops in the discard. A bit of a slower game. This is definitely what Shawnee needs.
Yeah, now important thing to keep track of though on the other side is that both Bayonets are in the discard pile.
Ooh.
So we need to find some Night Stretchers on this turn. Kofu might get us there.
We do see Kofu, which is another supporter we don't see often. I'm gonna need a refresher on what that
I had
does.
a fun time with Kofu at the pre-releases, but you I think you put your hand on the bottom and draw cards, and then if there's more Kofu, you draw extra or something like that.
No, so I just pulled up the text. I think you're thinking of the. I think
the
there's
other things that care about Kofu, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this reads: put 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you put 2 cards on the bottom of your deck in this way, draw 4 cards. So you get to choose some cards to put at the bottom that you don't necessarily want to get discarded. They'll be tucked away at the bottom of your deck, safe. Draw 4, which is not bad. You're getting a net 2 cards. Seeing more cards is always great. Also a good way to cycle through the deck.
Discarding our Salvatore, as you mentioned earlier, but we did find the Bayonet this turn, so looks like we're really getting started here. There's a Dusknoir on the bench, an extra Duskull for a future turn. Is there a way to get the Bayonet active? That is the question.
Yep, I think if I remember correctly, Prime Catcher was taken off the last turn, off Pokestop the last turn.
Right.
Now we don't know if this Prime Catcher was put to the bottom with Kofu, but yep, it is the way to switch. Not the ideal way to switch. You much prefer Attach Retreat, but locking this word here in the active, hitting it for 30, not the worst.
Starting to get some damage builds up is what this deck really likes to do over the course of many turns. Just slow ticks of damage. Every once in a while moving it around, but trying to keep something stuck in the active that either can't attack or can't retreat. So you can do what you want for as long as you want. There's double Archeops.
Oh my god, dude. I was just about to say I do not like these spins with the stop because your last V-Star is in your deck. If your last V-Star gets milled, you just lose. But I guess we're just saying, hey, you know what? If I can't get double chops off the Pokestop, we're losing anyways. Wow, I can't believe that.
We see another jet use here to read the wind again. We need to find the V-Star, right? I guess not.
Yeah, we're attaching. We could Iono, try to see 6 new cards, but you don't really want to reset your opponent's hand. 2 cards only, and we just see the pass.
Might see a couple more using the Dusknoir here. Taking out the Cinccino makes a lot of sense. 1-for-1 prize and get rid of that scary attacker on the bench.
Yep. You just do not want that Cinccino to ever announce special role. It is just such a scary attack. 1 prize goes to each player. The Ultra Ball was the prize taken off from the Lugia side, which sounds great until you realize you can't use it because you are item locked.
Immediately into a second Dusknoir with the help of that Night Stretcher and Rare Candy.
Not gonna pop it right away. Opted to use the Messagoza.
Messagoza still fake for everyone.
And the Iono from the other side. So getting 1 step closer to that Lugia V-Star we're looking for.
Not yet.
Ultra Ball I was gonna say is it, but it is not if we announce Everlasting Darkness here.
Able to bump the Messagoza is very important as well. As we said, they don't want to use the Pokestop because if they mill that last Lugia V-Star, they're in a rough spot.
Wow. That is crazy. And if you can just keep item locking for as long as possible, basically you are making it so that your opponent only has 1 out to Lugia V-Star instead of, Ultra Balls and Capturing Aromas and Luminion, all those are shut down. So only having one out to the Lugia V-Star is pretty scary. Could delay our Lugia player here for a while, but yep, I like this Read the Wind. Putting a lot of pressure, because you're going to see a lot of cards now.
Research can start to get us there.
Yeah, we are getting kind of low on energies, I think, because I think we did research and squawk a few on the first turn. So the energies are getting spread out.
Stop finds a lost vacuum. Not too much help here. There was another Dust Noir in the discard for potential Night Stretchering in the future.
Yeah. I'd like to see him also bench another Dust Skull. Maybe threaten a double Dust Noir turn. Don't know if, maybe debating if we rip the Poltergeist here.
Seems a little preemptive.
Yeah, using Poltergeist against Lugia too is pretty scary because they don't really play that many items, right? Like they've mostly got like 17 energies, 20 something Pokemon. The rest are supporters. Yep, Everlasting Darkness. So we're keeping the item log going, just praying that that Lugia V-Star does not show up. See the mist get attached here to the active. Most likely
it's not honestly not even the worst for Lugia here to just slowly be attaching the energy.
Yeah, because Banette is a deck that needs a lot of turns to show pressure, and there's the Lugia V-Star. And all of a sudden, Lugia looks like he's in a commanding spot.
So, important thing to keep track of the item or the trainer count in hand. Currently is 3.
So, not enough to take a KO with Poltergeist here, so this Lugia is sticking around.
Yeah, only 3 energy less than the deck. This Primal Turbo. Whoa, hold on.
Yeah, I think our I think our Lugia player here just realized 3 energies in hand. So we saw 2 in the deck, right? So that's 5 energies.
A Jet
left.
and a Legacy left.
220. Most likely going to discard the Pokestop.
I wonder if this now has to be the turn where we Dust Noir Poltergeist to just try to deal with the V-Star.
Yeah, I guess you're out now to winning this game is just hoping the Lugia player runs out of energies. This is a bit tricky. We see Radiant Alakazam. What kind of math can this fix here?
Moving on to the Archeops. So a Cursed Blast can take care of one of those, I guess.
Yep. Don't know how much value Archeops is getting now, though. Now that we only have 2 energies in the deck.
Right. Gino, not a trainer card, so this Poltergeist still will not be enough here.
Yep, especially since that Dusknoir going towards that Archeops not helping out on the KO of this Lugia V-Star.
Another kind of important thing is that there are 3 Jet energies on this Lugia. So there's, if you could get something else active, it might stick around a turn or 2.
That is true, yeah, especially if it's something like this Wordier, but we also do see the 2 DTs in hand for the retreat. I don't know, this is interesting.
Means we can use these item cards now to get them out of the hand.
Yeah, I like this though. Thinning the hand out, not only so that Iono doesn't hit you as hard if we see a late game Iono, but just reducing the damage of Poltergeist, right? Making your Lugias, your beefy 280 HP Lugias, be a little safer.
Double heads, no Pokemon to grab that time.
I wonder if we're going to see the boss. I don't think so. I think we just take the attack here, force your opponent to have a little bit more next turn.
And we see the Primal Turbo not even being used, so that Archeops targeting really not paying off here.
Yeah. I don't know if there was a better way to place that damage, though. Also, DT and Gift getting added to the hand here. More energies to work with.
I think maybe as the Bayonet player here, that first turn where they had the Archeops, they only used the 1 Primal Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
That perhaps can key into a little bit of their energy situation in deck. So I don't know if the targeting the other Archeops was the best line of play here.
Wow, I was gonna say research could, or Iono to 1 could maybe be big, but it gives us 2 researches. So as long as this research, if we do evolve and see a Bennett here, as long as this research sees us 1 energy, we do have the game winning play, just promoting that Chinchino and special rolling for the last 2 prizes you need. But I don't think Shawnee here has found a Bennett EX.
Well, they're both in the discard, remember? So they need to find there's
Yeah.
2 Night Stretchers left.
Yeah, so no outs to Night Stretchers. I don't think. Is this going to be Enveloping Shadows? We see Radiant Alakazam come into play. Moving some damage to the Lugia.
A little bit too late to try to KO this Lugia, it feels like.
Feels like the damage has already been done.
I think it would have been a very interesting game had we targeted the V-Star that one turn that we had.
Mm.
Because then the follow-up attack is difficult.
Do we have... Oh, no, I was going to say, do we have game here with Iron Hands? But killing the Archeops does make it a little tougher to get out of this active spot and charge up another attacker, but I just don't think it matters as long as we have enough energies to retreat or attack with everything. I think we're fine. We see this bear get researched away, and I think that's exactly the reason. I don't think our Lugia player here wants to get anything trapped in the active. We do see Legacy Energy get attached to this Chinchino.
This Primal
So I
Turbo
think
will
we're
have to
attacking
go
with
to
it.
the Weird Deer so we can retreat. Yeah, with 3 double turbos, nothing's getting stuck anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Wordier is your biggest trappable target since it does have that 2 retreat compared to everything else on the board that has 1. Obviously the Lugias do have 2, but they're already charged up. The Ultra Ball for extra thinning. Don't necessarily need any of these Pokemon that are in hand.
Yeah, especially not with the Spiritomb still in play.
Yep. And I mean, again, I don't really see where you go from here if you are the Bennett player. I mean, I guess your best line is to just stick something that can't be immediately KO'd, but since we have that Archeops in play, Chinchino can put in all the work, hit 280, and should be game. So, pretty rough. Let's see if maybe Shawnee knows something that I don't. If he has some tricks up his sleeve. See Latias get benched.
Still chipping away at the Lugia V-Star, but not enough damage yet. I own it a 1.
I mean, 250 is a good number to put the Lugia at. It does mean Everlasting Darkness takes a KO if we find the Stretcher, which we do. Do we have the Psychic Energy
Stretcher
to get this item
yeah.
lock? Even then, shouldn't really matter as long
Oh, Stretcher
as...
Bear, hold up.
True. But again, Chinchino can
Yeah.
hit 280.
Yep.
I think we're just hoping that maybe our opponent... Or, unless we're miscounting the energies, but as long as the energies are in the deck, should be fine. Maybe we're hoping that some energies are prized. Or that something's going to go on.
Gonna take some prizes at the very last. There we go.
For what it's worth, if we do whiff this KO, and we do have a way to attack with this Ursaluna again, which I don't even think is possible with this list, we can take a KO if we combine it with a counter catcher for the game. But we don't see that, and I think we're going to see the Primal Turbo. Oh, live taking a little second, but yeah, more than enough energies in the deck. This is going to be a mean 330 damage special roll for the KO. And that is a clean 2-0 for our Lugia player.
Lugia doing Lugia things, even with some rough opening turns this game.
I think it just came down to that Pokestop was a little disgusting. I mean, that is just the dream Pokestop if you're a Lugia player, right? Just get the double chops, get a capturing aroma, and that's all you really need.
Trusting that Lugia V-Star was not in the top 3 as well.
Yeah, that I forgot about that. That could have been a completely different game. Because without Lugia V Star as a deck isn't great. There's a reason why it's called a Lugia V Star deck. I mean, he could have maybe attached over 4 turns, 1 energy each on a Lugia to use Arrow Dive for 120. I think I would have loved that. Loved to see that as the Bennett player. But nope. Is going to move on. Clean play from Mr. Nira SSBU here.
Another Smash player, perhaps?
Another Smash player.
Our people?
The Smash player into TCG pipeline is a real one.
It really is.
It's a virus that has infected me and like all my friends. It's affected you, even in another country.
Here we are, yeah.
It's all over the world. We love Pokemon.
Take a look at the bracket here, how it's been doing.
I believe, yeah, that. Oh no, we have some games already completed. We see Eze, Reggie Drago from Puerto Rico taking it over.
The control, that makes
Pidgeot
sense,
control.
yeah.
And then BML beating Red the Goat, which is Charizard versus Ceruledge. Charizard being the victor. I would have loved to see some Ceruledge. I'm a fan of all these like more niche decks, right? We did see him playing the secret box build. I think this might be a list very similar to what we saw do top 60 in Japan. So probably a pretty good list if you're looking to play some Prismatic Evolutions tomorrow on live. It is going to come out. Maybe check out that list. I mean, it's proven itself time and time again.
Take a quick look at our bracket here. Like we said, Charizard here. Charizard.
Wait, I'm jealous.
This Charizard, the Japanese Charizard as well. It is still Charizard Pidgeot. They just are running a 1/1 Bibarel line. So it's a 1/1 Pidgeot, 1/1 Bibarel.
I'm jealous. I don't know why my limit list doesn't show that, but it doesn't show the Pokemon.
You gotta go standings and then top cut, and it shows the bracket. I was
in pairings, and pairings doesn't show the Pokemon. That's weird. Okay, well, we got some limitless tips. We also see Pokemon on Raging Bolt versus Charizard. Not a great matchup for Raging Bolts, but you never know, right?
You never know.
Never know. So,
speaking of our metagame here, though, like we said, 25 Charizards tonight.
My God.
Golden Ghost didn't quite make it into top cut, but Lugia is here to play. Charizard's here to play. Only one Gardevoir is a little surprising to me in top cut.
Yeah, it was the last time we were here last week. It was the deck that made it all the way to finals. Was a little short, drew a little poorly in the finals, lost to everyone's favorite Reggie Drago. So I wonder if you had to call it, just looking at the standings, who do you think is favored to take it all?
Let's see. Let's take a look at this bracket again.
I don't know. I'm kind of looking at Lugia, and it's not looking too bad.
The problem is that the Lugias are they're not in the path of the Charizards, right?
That is true. Yeah, Lugia, there's kind of 2 decks that it doesn't really want to see, besides Thorns, of course. But it's Miraidon and Guardy, I think, are its 2 toughest matchups.
Perhaps
and Lost
the 2
Box
that they have to play.
Yeah, and Lost Box and R2D2 Wreck, one of our 2 Lugias in the bracket, is fighting. If he's able to take down Wally Original, the first seed on Charizard Pidgeot, if he's able to win, is fighting either a Lost Box or a Guardy.
So I think actually this Drago is poised to take it, honestly.
Yeah, I think the scary matchups for him would just be those 2/2/2 decks. But the 2/2/2 decks being Bolt and Miraidon also kind of got it tough. I mean, they're team killing each other. They got to play at Lugia the next round. Then our Bolt player at the bottom, Pokemon, fighting Zard, which is historically a pretty tough matchup. I wonder, actually, let me see her deck list. How many Bravery? We're on 2 Bravery Charms. The Bravery Charms are pretty helpful in that matchup. Oh, the Briar Tech in her list, though. Can
nice.
be a big deal in that matchup. Briar being almost exclusive, well, not exclusively, but being very, very helpful in the Charizard matchup since Ogre Pawn can take big KOs.
But yeah, I imagine this Drago, let's see, plays a Charizard here, and then a Charizard here, and then a Gardevoir in finals. Like, that feels pretty
Ooh,
good. Right?
yeah, that feels pretty good. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. We might see the Drago 2-peat.
Yeah.
Yep, because his side of the bracket, I mean, he's got. Hopefully, he dodges the Bolt. That's, of course, the matchup that he wouldn't want to see. But if he is able to dodge the Bolt, he is fighting the winner of a Zardmere that fights a winner of a Zardmere. So he's fighting Charizard, which, I mean, we did see last week Charizard take down a Regidrago,
It's possible, yeah.
but Charizard's got to drop pretty hot.
Yeah.
So I wonder what is going to happen. Never know. A lot of close matchups. We do see Bauer TCG and Victor Garcia finish their set. This was a Charizard mirror. Bauer TCG, our Canadian representative, was able to take it down. Pretty similar lists from what I'm seeing. Both of them just playing some standard Charizard Pidgeot. Unfair stamp from both, I believe.
It feels like a lot of people are leaning into Charizard for hopefully the rotation and post era. Get the practice in now because it feels like it's going to be a strong deck for a bit.
It's gonna look very, very different if you ask me. I think people are going to maybe push towards a Grand Tree or a Trolley build.
Right.
Because right now we're relying on some big counter catcher, unfair stamp, triple candy plays on our second turn. And those 5 cards that I just mentioned are items. And if you know anything and have been following Pokemon or have been on Twitter.com in the last 2 weeks, you know that Badoo is a very, very strong card coming out. Coming out this weekend. Technically not going to be legal until 2 weeks from now in real life tournaments, but it is going to be live for next late night. So this is the last late night EU for this format. Curious to see what's going to take it all. We're going to see just 130 HP Pokemon just change the entire game.
Change everything.
Yeah, it's not even because decks are going to be playing it, just because decks have to respect it.
Right.
Like Charizard, the deck is going to be insanely different. I've seen some lists playing only 2 candies, and if you told me that 3 months ago that I would be playing Charizard with only 2 candies, I would call you crazy. That is, I want like 8 candies in my Charizard deck. I don't want 2. I think. Oh, I was gonna say with the 1/1 B barrel line in the Charizard players list, I thought it was a trolley build, but no, it's Prime Catcher. I just love to see the evolution of Charizard, of the ace specs that Charizard play. You know, when Charizard first came out with the ace specs, we saw a lot of Stamp like we do now. There was a debate. We saw a lot of Hero's Cape be played. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the first ever ace spec they played was Max Belt.
Yep, to KO the other Charizards.
It was to KO the other Charizards, exactly. And then people were like, wait, we can just play Justified Gloves, and that also helps us against Roaring Moon? So they started playing Justified Gloves and Hero's Cape. We saw some Prime Catcher. We've seen it all, honestly. Grand Tree, when it came out, people were experimenting. Now we're seeing Trolley.
I was a fan of the Cape Charizard, just 430 health. Good luck. Like
yeah, 430 health, or even like a 230 HP Radzard.
Yeah.
Or Radzard has 130, right?
No, it's more than that.
50?
I think.
So 150 or 130? Why am I freak? 160. Jesus. Yeah, 260 HP Radiant Charizard. Like after an Iono to 1, deal with this one prizer with 260 HP. It's not easy. A lot of plays as well. Caping the Pidgeot was very strong in Mirror when that was relevant. It's pretty interesting to see how just throughout the different metas, how Charizard has adapted. You know, we went from Cleffa and B-Barrel not really existing in Pidgeot lists, but then Tord doing really well, and I think it was an IC, I forget which one, with like this kind of I'm just going to draw a lot of cards with B-Barrel and then Pidgeot for the card that I need after. Duskull came out, so we saw no more B barrels. Now B barrels coming back with Trolley. People are cutting Cleffa. People love Cleffa. I love seeing Zard lists.
Speaking of, we got a new match.
Let's go.
And it is
What do
the
we got
Charizard
here?
Mirror.
The Charizard Mirror. Okay, this is one that you might have to stop me if I'm yapping too much, because I can talk about the Zard Mirror for days.
This is Bauer TCG up against BML, Canada versus Spain.
So whose perspective are we seeing right now?
This is BML's perspective.
BML's perspective. So our Spanish player going first. Starting Luminion is not great, but if there's a deck that has board management, it is Charizard. So plenty of ways to get this Luminion out of play, and I think that is very, very important to do as soon as possible, especially get it out of the active if you're not attacking, because that is a free 2 prizes.
His hand also from BML is looking great for this turn too.
Yep, the Candy Pidgeot, Sealstone for something, Quick Search for the other. You even got Iono, so you can Candy Pidgeot, attach the Sealstone, Iono. Now your Quick Search and your Star Alchemy can maybe be saved if you hit some certain pieces off the Iono. The Duskull was bench turn 1, so we could go for some big Dusknoir plays. And basically what you're trying to do in the mirror is hunt down that Pidgeot, because the player who has Pidgeot established has a huge advantage if the other one doesn't. So maybe we see even a Candy Dusknoir going after this Pidgey.
I'm gonna retreat this Luminion first and foremost.
Yeah, we are seeing the Zard get pushed up.
I wonder if we ever see this boss being used this turn, right?
We could. If the Star Alchemy and the Quick Search are just Candy Zard. I don't love that, though. I think personally, I would have liked to see maybe see an Iono, but you have to assume maybe that your opponent's hand is a little dead. No supporter was played, right? Or
they played an Arven, but they had to Luminion for it, yeah.
Yeah. So we do just see the Candy Zard, so maybe the boss does come out. We could see a boss on this Charmander forcing a Thornton.
Would you, so would you pick the Charmander or the Pidgey here as the target?
It's tough to say. I think I would maybe go for the Pidgey. I think getting down a Pidgey, yeah, I think I would boss the Pidgey, because knocking out a Pidgey feels a lot better long term, because you don't want your opponent to Candy Pidgeot, Quick Search for Stamp you down to 2, stick like Cleffa in the active maybe, and Grasping Draw. But if they just Candy Zard and smack you, you're pretty happy with that, because long term they're not going to be doing a lot. I would have also maybe liked to see the Fez get benched. Maybe a little bit of protection from Unfair Stamp. But it is a counter catcher target. I guess the counter catcher target would always be the Fez, so I do understand why he didn't bench it. Yeah, actually, I take that back. I don't think I would have benched it.
So we found out what was in Bauer's hand there. The Candy Pidgey or Candy Charizard was just sitting there waiting to be used. And a second Arven. We are going to see a hit here, but like you said, it's not the best progression of their board state here.
It's not great progression, and you are vulnerable here to a Candy Dusknoir KO active. Speaking of Candy Dusknoir KO active,
hold on.
hold on.
And the stamp.
Oh, so now we kind of do regret not benching that Fez, and look at that, there's no Charmanders down. I didn't notice there's no second Charmander ready to attack, and oh my god, Bauer was able to make a pretty good board off the turn 1. And often the Zard Mirror turn 1 kind of comes down to getting a good read on your opponent's hand, because if your opponent is the first to stamp you and is able to go for a big play like this, you're kind of cooked. And BML here took a risk that I kind of agree with. Bauer's hand didn't look great, but turned out being great. But the prize taken off the Dusknoir was pretty Unfair Stamp. So we got plays.
Kind of important now we are even on prizes for now, which could get changed with a Dust Noir of BML's side here, but
we do see the Poffin going to grab us 2 Charmanders. That makes total sense. And this unfair stamp, we are trying to see Thornton, Candy, Zard. If those are 3 cards that we see in this, that would be amazing. We do see Candy. That's
only
one
one.
piece.
Yep.
For a Sealstone used, Quick Search can of course get us a second piece, but a second piece is not enough. We want 3. Quick Search can get us a lot of cards here. We do see him eyeing up the boss. Maybe trying to buy a turn. I don't hate that, but Gusts are so valuable in this matchup. Is it worth to try to stall? And we're keeping the Pidgeot active.
Ooh, scary, scary.
I don't know. If your opponent has Thornton Dustclaws, but he does have 2 cards in hand, no draw. Again, the Zardmere is all about taking risks.
His
Do they
instant
pay off?
charge, leaving the Pidgeot in the active.
I don't love that. I feel like you can just leave a Charmander active. Because, I mean, even a smack on the Pidgeot here, if Bauer is able to get a retreat, is not great. Because you can always finish it off with Dusclops. This could buy us a turn. Yep, I think Nestball for Rotom is pretty telling. Was able to buy us a turn. So maybe he is correct in that boss stall play. Now we've got Candy, Ultra Ball, we've got Arven. We've got everything we could possibly need, and we are taking a 2-prize KO here on this Fez.
We even have double Candy if we want to get our Dust Noir on the board.
We would need a Night Stretch. No, the Dusknoir is in the discard for our opponent here. He's getting a little mixed up.
Evolving the one without the Defiance bit.
I do like that. You do want to keep your Defiance Band for the last moment, because it does mean that when your opponent is on 2 prizes, you do get the KO if you are behind on their Charizard. Going down to 2 here is a little tiny bit scary, because again, Charizard mirrors just come down to how well you can gauge your opponent's hand and what they can do. So if... Oh no, there's no Duskull. I was about to say we could see a Candy, Dusknoir, Briar 4-prize turn. Since there's no Duskulls, we are safe to go down to 2 here. Night Stretcher.
What are we trying to
was
set up in our
correct.
hand to finish this game here?
Ideally, probably just set up another Zard. We're taking a 2-prize KO, and as long as we have Gust on the follow-up turn, we should be good to win off the game on the spot. I'm not sure why Night Stretcher was the grab here, since if our Pidgeot gets targeted down this turn, we don't have the Gust for the final 2 prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I would love to see... Bauer has a pretty decent line here. If he's able to establish Candy Pidgeot, which I think is what we're getting, we can double Gust, kill this Pidgeot. Bauer doesn't immediately have a response. If he's not able to find Gust on the follow-up turn, we could just see, again, a boss Rotom taking 4 prizes for Bauer here. This is just a race of who can get boss first.
And BML's already down 1. We had to use one on the previous turn to stay alive.
BML does have an extra out being Dusclops, though, because Dusclops can just put the Charizard in range. So a lot more outs on the side of BML. We do see the Quick Search. Also, alternatively, we can see if Bauer wants to fill up his bench, Collapsed and Turo, we could see him get rid of both Lumineon and Rotom. But then that would mean you're smacking the active. I'm not sure how great that line is, but it is an option. We do see the boss on the Pidgeot. 300 damage.
Huge damage. Knock out the bird.
My apologies. Bauer does not play Collapsed. So that was not a possible line. BML, on the other hand, does play Collapsed. So minor differences in the
Eyeing up the
list.
Night Stretcher here. We do have Nestball for Pheasantipity, so we draw 3 more cards.
Yeah. And again, there's a lot of outs here in the deck. Love to see him go through the deck, but he doesn't. There's Dusclops, Raw, Ultra Ball, Arvin. A lot of pieces get us there.
Boss's
Boss.
Orders, yeah.
Yep. We do see Ultra Ball. That should be Dusclops. As long as he sees it for the final KO, and the fact that he's playing that Ultra Ball right away, I believe he does see it. Yep, grab the Dusclops. But that was close.
It feels like despite all of the actions taken, we were just searching for boss at the end. That's how the game just turns into.
Which is why I'm not sure why Night Stretcher was the grab off the Arvin, because I think we ended up quick searching for Zard. I would have maybe liked. I'm not sure if he did have Ultra Ball left in the deck, of course, because he found it at the end. So I think I would have liked to see Arvin go towards Ultra Ball, and Quick Search go towards the boss, so that we could have just completely avoided that scenario in the first place. Or maybe even Quick Search for the Dusclops directly, so you just have more threat on board, right? You have game on board, forcing your opponent to maybe boss the Duskull instead, but then we got Pidgeot. So definitely some weird plays there. As we see BML actually opt to go, or sorry, not BML, Bauer opt to go first in this game. I don't know how to feel about that.
I mean, at the very simple end, BML went for his last game and won, right? So
that is true. Personally, I like going second in Charizard Mirror. It's I just think whoever can establish a stronger board can, like, having access to Arvin turn 1 just such a huge advantage, or on your first turn, of course. But still, even going first, let's see if Bauer can get set up, take the first KO. Of course, that's always the ideal, right? If you can do all that without a supporter, then that's great. We do see Poffin, though, in the first hand, so that's amazing.
Poffin for both players here. It feels like we're back in Battle VIP Pass era.
Yep. No instant charge, so it is going to be a little tougher. No instant charge, no V Pokemon down on the board. Obviously, that means no access to VIP Pass. Jesus, to Sealstone.
Infected
Don't
you, I'm
bring
sorry.
me back.
Yep.
Don't bring me back, Asmo. Although, I guess after rotation, I know it's quite a while in the future, but we might start seeing some people joke about VIP passes when they're playing that hop deck. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the reveals, but that hop deck is looking pretty good.
I've seen it a little bit here and there, yeah.
Well, basically, it has a card that is just go search your deck for 2 hops Pokemon, put them straight on your bench. So, kind of like Buddy Poffin, except no restriction of 70 HP Pokemon. The restriction is hops Pokemon instead. But if you're playing the hop deck and all your Pokemon are hop Pokemon, it's not much of a restriction.
So pretty good turn 1 here for both players, but on BML side, it looks pretty good here.
Yep. Now, is going first going to give us a big advantage? Here, another reason I don't like going first, I don't think necessarily taking the first KO is great in Zardmira, because looking at BML's hand, imagine this Charmander goes down. Congrats, you've now unlocked Counter Catcher. You've unlocked Stamp. He has the Defiance Band in hand. He's got Candy Pidgeot. He can Stamp Counter Catcher, attach the Defiance Band. Maybe take a KO on your Rotom, take a KO on something big if we're able to get a Duskull. Duskull's not down on the bench now, but potentially maybe hit into the Pidgeot, Dusclops it later.
We're committing to the Forest Sealstone this turn, so it does seem like Bauer is going for the full combo now.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even hate just going Candy Pidgeot, quick search for maybe Charmeleon, evolve the Charmander on your bench, and just instant charge. Take your time. You know that since BML doesn't have a Duskull down, your Pidgeot's relatively safe. Of course, there's always the option to search out the Duskull, Ultra Ball it into the discard, Thornton it in. But you know what? If you got all that, you got all that. You got it.
That was the play. The quick search was not for Charmeleon, but perhaps for a piece of Candy or Charizard or something like that. And then instant charge. So we have 6 cards in hand. We'll see what BML here can do with his humongous hand.
And the vacuum preemptively attaching that Defiance Band is going to get immediately punished. Vacuum is not a card that we always see in Charizard, but this is an open decklist tournament, so both players are aware of each other's vacuums.
There's a lot of nice vacuumable stadiums lying around everywhere nowadays. So
Yeah, especially Jamming Tower can get very, very annoying as a Zard player. Not only does it turn off your Seal Stone, also turns off your Defiance Band for crucial KOs. And Zard often only plays one stadium, being that collapsed, so we also see Bauer opting to not even play a stadium. So Vacuum is their only answer to stadiums. I like this again, just instant charging. No reason to get greedy. We saw that Pidgeot. Did Pidgeot grab Nest Ball there?
I missed it, but
I missed it
maybe
too, but I think it did,
it
which
could be
is
the Dusclops as
interesting.
well.
No, the Dusclops was drawn off instant charge. That
Oh.
I'm pretty confident in. But now this is where Bauer has a huge time to. It's his time to shine here, because if he can Dusclops KO this Pidgeot with a counter catcher Defiance Band, we're in a lot of trouble. But no, the Defiance Band was
Yeah, it's
vacuumed, so he
lost
is
zone.
safe. He would need Candy Dusknoir, but this Dusclops was evolved this turn. We could also see just 50 on Pidgeot, countercatcher Rotom.
Mm-hmm.
The 50 on Pidgeot would set up for a KO later.
And you would still get 2 prizes.
Yeah, exactly. Does leave us vulnerable to countercatcher Stamp Dusclops on the Pidgeot of our own, which is all cards that we have in hand here. This Iono is big.
Huge Iono, taking away the stamp, taking away the Dusclops, taking away some candies.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those situations where my opponent quick searched and just kept a card in hand for what is that, 2 turns in a row now, an instant charge. There's got to be some good stuff in there. Get those cards out of his hand. So we do just see the KO on the active, so nothing too powerful here. Just taking a 1 prize, leaving himself a little vulnerable to the stamp here. But again, it's a lot of pieces to ask for.
The arms race has been broken. It's now time to fight. We take our first prize.
Now BML has a tough decision. Do we Ultra Ball for Fez to try to get the pieces? Because right now we need Candy, we need Counter Catcher, and we need Dusclops. We have an Ultra Ball that's 1 piece. Arvin
could find one more, but
is a Candy, Pidgeot's a Counter Catcher. Is that it? Am I forgetting a piece? The Defiance Band is also a piece, but Arvin gets us there. So we don't have the stamp, is what ideally we would have gotten, but I think this is still KO on the Pidgeot is pretty strong here. That would leave Bauer with just Pheasantipity as your draw power, which can also just be counter catcher stamped on the follow-up turn, since stamp is not going to be used this turn. Or we can also just see maybe a smack on the active. We see the quick search going towards Candy. So it could be a Candy Dusknoir KO the active. This forces Bauer to set up another Charizard, so it is a little resource hungry. Or sorry, you're trying to force
them
as many
to use resources.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems like that is the play. Leaving the Pidgeot in play is always just so scary. It's such a strong card.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with both the Dusclops and Duskull on the bench.
Mm-hmm. There was also maybe a line where you could have... Oh no, because you were missing a piece. I was going to say maybe Dusclops go after the ghosts. We do see him rotting back. Charmander, Fire, Fire. We saw a debate for the Dusknoir there. Opting to not use any more ghosts. Or at least not rod back the Dusknoir. I do like keeping the Duskull in the discard. That just means he's there ready, waiting for some potential Thornton plays. And if we ever need to Poffin one, we do have 2 copies. Although I believe 1 is prized.
But you certainly will need to set up a second Charizard to win this game. So
yeah, that's true. No Charmander getting benched here. Not great if this Charizard gets KO'd. I think maybe Bauer's best play here is like Candy, Dusknoir, Candy Zard, or sorry, evolve Dusclops into Dusknoir, Candy Zard, Hand Disrupt, force a Thornton Candy Zard play. We did see a very, very similar situation happen in game one where BML was getting pretty aggressive, but only left himself one Charizard on the board.
Yeah, scary. There's also 3 candies in the discard for BML already.
Oof. That's not great.
That 4th one has to be for the Charizard.
Yeah. Alternatively, if you do get stamped to 2, because I believe Bauer still has his stamp, right? Or am I misremembering?
Yes, I believe that's correct. Yeah, there's only been yeah.
So alternatively, he can hit Boss Radzard Fire on a Rotom. Although I don't know if there's going to be a hand disrupt. Did we have the pieces to find that? And the Dusknoir. It was a lot to ask for, especially without a Pheasantipity. Smacking into this Charizard is not great, although you are guaranteed to have that damage stay in play since there's no Turo. There's no option to Turo and Candy another Charmander.
Right.
We do see the boss.
Taking out the Pheasantipity.
Maybe Dusclops Pidgeot as well.
It is a hard decision, as we see the pause here. Okay, Pidgeot's the target.
Stamp. There you go. We're getting the full combo off. I would have liked to see the Dusclops get popped beforehand, though. Because now you're giving your opponent one extra card into their hand.
Mm-hmm. Without really a need to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If this was always going to be the plan, I don't know what cards you would draw to make this not the plan anymore.
Yeah, I think... I don't know. I'm trying to think maybe if he hit Candy Noir, but no, that doesn't change much. I think we're always popping the Dusknoir anyways. Thankfully for him, not like too punished. Nest Ball isn't like the craziest card in this scenario.
There is the knockout on the Pidgeot, removing that very powerful quick search ability.
Now, there are 2 cards here that can end the game on the spot, which is terrifying. But if this stamp gives, or this Pheasantipity rather, gives a Defiance Band and Briar, that's
Game's
it.
over. Yep.
Which is pretty crazy to say. We don't see it though. Those were just 2 one-ofs in a deck full of 28 cards. So the odds are pretty low, but that's still scary. And we see the concession. Yep. The writing was on the wall there. We got Quick Surge Dusclops, or Night Stretcher for Dusclops, whatever. KO your only Charizard, and that's pretty much GG's.
So it's 1-1 now. Player going
1-1.
first seems to win 100% of the time.
Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong in saying that second is better, but I think it just comes down to who can get the most meaningful KO.
Right.
Also, we see a little bit of leaks, but BML's Charizard deck is named Birmingham. So that's again just shows that people are practicing for Birmingham. BML does come from Spain, so Europe showing up in late night EU.
As they should. We love to see it.
Again, we talked about this last week, but I love to see just the international talent from these late nights. I mean, in this top 8, we got Mexico, France, Canada, Spain, Puerto Rico, Brazil, Japan even. Japan showing up. What time is it in Japan right now?
I mean, it depends, but they're usually plus 14 from East Coast.
Yeah, so it's in Tokyo right now. It's 7:43 a.m. So forget late night, some early morning Pokemon. For Tom Hagen, our Charizard B-Barrel player. On the other side of the bracket, the winner of his match will play the winner of the match that we do see on stream right now. So like you said, it's a good night to be Charizard.
Although I suppose thinking about when this tournament started, it was late night at the very beginning for them. Starting at midnight or something, right?
Jeez. It's been a long night for him.
First hand here for BML, not the greatest as we've seen prior. Here's the Cleffa for the first time.
Let's go. I love the Cleffa personally. It is a card that I don't understand why a lot of Charizard players did cut, but a lot of them did cut it. It's a card that kind of just saves you oftentimes, especially when you don't have a Nest Ball in your starting hand to draw cards with Rotom. Poffin becomes an out to a mini Rotom. I think it also makes going second more valuable.
Right.
But again, BML chose first, so I don't know, making me eat my words. This hand is a little lackluster though. But we're seeing a Charmander and a Pidgey get
Ultra
benched
Ball
turn
for
1,
Charmander
so
never feels good.
yeah, it never feels good. Especially because you're using one of your outs to Pidgeot. You know, there's an argument to maybe just keeping the Ultra Ball in hand just to try to have better odds to hit Candy Pidgeot next turn. But thankfully, the instant charge did draw us into Arven, which is huge.
Meanwhile, though, Bauer's setup looking very strong here. And
And
able to draw some cards with Grasping Draw at the end of the turn.
So only drawing 2 cards. That means either he's got everything he could possibly ask for, or his hand's a little dead. Not many cards played. I don't even think a supporter was played on the side of Bauer. As we do see Candy Zard over Candy Pidgeot.
It
I think
seemed
the
the
Forest
Sealstone was prized, so there's no way to get it all.
I don't think we attack here, though. I really wouldn't like to see an attack, because if you get stamped, and if Bauer's got a big combo, you kind of just lose the game on the spot. Are we just going to see an attach retreat into Charmander instant charge? I think that's what I would like to see here.
Yeah, we need more pieces before we really... The arms race is still going on. As
we do. Okay, so we do see Candy Zard. I wonder why that wasn't just Poffin for a second Pidgey and an instant charge again. Having Candy Zard here doesn't feel great because you do use a candy, right? And if you had the candy in hand, it's more outs to get Pidgeot. Although this instant charge has not been great for Bauer here, or for BML here.
Bauer needing to discard 2 fire energy with that Ultra Ball.
And grabbing Luminion, so we're still not even there. Hopefully this gets us there. Arven does get us Candy Sealstone if the Sealstone is not prized. So essentially, you turn 1 Ultra Ball into 1 Pidgeot, because your Sealstone can grab you Candy Pidgeot.
I wouldn't be surprised if the evolution Pokemon are in the hand already.
Yeah, maybe. At least he had one other... He needs just one other card in his hand to help him fulfill that combo. So either a second Ultra Ball, a Candy, a Pidgeot Raw, a Charizard Raw, and he's got Candy Pidgeot, Candy Zard. But the question is, do you want to take this KO on the Charmander?
Does have to use the V-Star power there, so I suppose the Pidgeot was not in hand. And straight into the quick search.
I wonder if we are able to get an attack off. Do we even want to? Or do we rather just set up the board again? Maybe another Grasping Draw? Because basically the matchup often comes down to who can KO the other's bird. But that does require a Dusclops, right? But no Duskull to be seen on the side of BML. It's a weird call. I think maybe you do just take the KO.
Charizard. Okay.
So we are taking the KO. I like that though, because you are applying pressure, and I mean your opponent's just instant charging. There could be a lot of junk in his hand. And obviously we have the power of being able to see his opponent's hand. And the hand's not great, but you do have Counter Catcher for a 2-prize KO here.
It's especially safer because of the lack of Duskull. Although Thornton, maybe? Thinking about it.
Oh, we're just attacking into this? Yikes. I wonder, this is a pretty big opportunity for Bauer to just Turo up this Zard. All he needs is either Turo or Candy in hand. Okay, so we do see the evolution of Charmeleon, so we're not seeing a Turo.
Turo's pretty scary because there'd be 4 fire in the discard, because we binned 2 of them already with an Ultra Ball.
Yeah, that is true. So that does require an extra piece, being that super rod. But I wonder, no Thornton of the Rotom into a Charmander to keep it safe, to not give up 2 prizes here. No counter catcher. No Cologne to just thin it out.
Punished.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that play from BML. I feel like there's a lot of plays that you could have done just to... Oh, wait. We are hitting for just 180, though. We didn't Dusclops.
Okay.
And now we're getting
sure.
zeroed.
Okay. We KO the Charizard. What?
Oh, now we're counter catchering, killing the Charmeleon? Oh, because we have the KO on both
Yeah.
Charmanders.
Okay, Curse Blast. This 130 damage is going to take out the benched Charizard, and then an attack from our Charizard can take out the Charmeleon.
Am I crazy, or did we just waste a counter catcher there? Because we could have just 130 the Charmeleon and attacked the active.
Right. Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of spaghetti, a little bit of nonsense going on. But we do see Fez Sealstone as the 2 prizes that are taken. That I'm pretty happy with that. If
Just
I'm
slamming down all these Pokemon. Yep.
I do see the Rotom get rebenched, not to instant charge, but to get Sealstone down. Preemptively attaching the Sealstone, so we are leaving ourselves open to vacuum.
But keeping it safe from the unfair stamp, which is perhaps more likely to be coming.
Yep. Pretty good board against unfair stamp. You have the Fez, you got the Sealstone. Now, what is the play on the side of Bauer? This has been a good Zardmir so far.
Radiant Charizard makes its first appearance at the set.
So we see Arvin. This isn't a Thornton. This isn't Thornton, but we can still take a 2-prize KO if we combine this Radzard with a counter catcher, a Fire Energy, but we would also have to Dusclops to give our opponent a prize, which doesn't feel great. You definitely don't want your opponent going down to 2 here, so this might just be reestablishing the board and passing. We could also stamp KO the Zard-EX, which I don't love since we do have Fez Sealstone, so the stamp isn't going to do too much.
Yeah. Defiance Band on the Radiant Charizard could hit up to 280.
Oh, an unfair stamp
Yeah.
drawn off of the stamp. It's pretty good if Bauer does take a KO, but it could also just be a grasping draw, which is looking like it is. We do poffin up a Charmander though, so that is the bare minimum we needed this turn.
Vacuum for the Sealstone.
Okay, that is big. That is big, because now if you're BML, you kind of just got to take this KO on the active.
Actually was the choice.
Do I agree with that?
BML doesn't agree.
Yeah, BML emote in there. I'm not sure I agree with that one either. Maybe just like didn't realize that the V-Star wasn't used. Oh, the top deck boss is gross here. We can take a 2-prize KO, which is huge. Going down to 1 in the Charizard mirror used to be a big no-no, but now it means that you can just take that just Dusclops wins you the game, since your opponent cannot ever take more than 2 prizes if you're down to 1. Charizard loves to cheat and take extra prizes with both Briar and Dusclops, or Dusknoir, but both of those are not possible when your opponent's on 1 prize card remaining. So I think this boss just about wraps up the game.
But they even have an unfair stamp for a follow-up turn.
Exactly. Now again, we could see, since the Defiance was vacuumed, we could see a counter catcher kill the Fez, maybe Iono to 1. Now your Charizard EX is only hitting for 300. Your Charizard lives, you can double Gust. But again, so many outs. If you are BML, Dusclops is an out. Sealstone is there for whatever out you want.
Yeah.
Gust is an out. So it would have to be like, get rid of the Sealstones. You would counter catcher the Rotom, but then Fez is active. It's not a great spot to be in, but there are plays.
We have a Charizard at the very least.
We do have a strong 330 damage dealing Burning Darkness. The question is, where do we put it?
Fires in hand. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, it scared me for a sec.
There was a rod played last turn, so
We do see the counter catcher on the Fez. Iona to 1.
Iona to 1 gets rid of the stamp.
So
No
now,
serendipity draw.
as long as the last prize isn't Dusclops, we have it regardless, because the Sealstone can either get us the Dusclops directly, or if Dusclops is in the discard pile, it can get us Night Stretcher.
Yeah.
So I think this Sealstone just about wraps it.
Arvin draw as well.
Harvin just
Would have
the
done it as
cherry on
well.
top.
Yep.
Oh, we're going for the Candy Dust Noir? Is that what we're going
The
for?
Candy Pidgeot, quick search
Oh,
into whatever you want. Yeah.
Oh, that's the way more stylish way. Wait, can we get the Sealstone for Dust Noir Candy? No, I think we're out of. Wait, we could do it. That's max style points. You set it all up and you Dust Noir the Cleffa. I think he's just confirming that all the pieces are in the deck.
Yep. He just dice the Dusclops is in the discard. So we're just
Yeah.
grabbing that.
No, we're not going for the style. Come on. We could even just Dusclops the Cleffa. We don't even need to KO the Zard. Yep, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. Nice and simple. That not vacuuming away the Sealstone does hurt there.
Yeah.
A lot. Because if we, I mean, actually he had it regardless because it was Arvin Pidgeot.
The Arvin top deck, yeah, fixed.
Yeah,
everything.
the Arvin top deck is crazy. But still, we could have seen maybe a scenario where you vacuum away the Sealstone, you counter catcher, KO the Fez. Now this Iona to 1 is going to hurt a lot more. But still, well played from both players.
Charizard
That was a pretty good
on.
one. Charizard moving on. Who would have guessed it? Now, the top 8 is set. So that was our first game of the top 8 concluded. But the 4 sets in the top 8 are Lugia versus Lost Box, Lugia versus Miraidon, the Zard Mirror we just watched, and then Zard versus Regidrago. So my prediction of Lugia, not feeling that great, to be honest, because those are, I think, 2 of Lugia's iffy matchups.
Yeah.
We do see a... Oh, hold on. Hold the phone. This Lost Box list is not a Lost Box Pikachu deck. It is a Roaring Moon EX Lost Box, which is actually pretty interesting. I think Lugia much rather see Roaring Moon than Pikachu, since Pikachu does take the clean KO on the Lugia V-Stars, isn't able to be knocked out, and Moon can't take out a knockout on a Lugia as long as it has a mist.
We're going to take a look at that because they're already in play.
Oh, this is the other Lugia game, actually. This is Nira SSPU versus
Miraidon, yeah.
Miraidon. This is also a matchup that they don't particularly love, since Lugia sometimes takes some time to set up, needs to do its thing slowly.
This is game number 3 also for the record here.
Oh, so that's interesting. I like to see it, game 3. I like to see it go the distance. I don't like to see these hands if I'm playing Lugia, though.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Miraidon is fully set up. They have the Magneton ready, essentially. The Magnemite ready to go. We have the Pikachu. We have the Iron Hands. We're looking pretty good.
I like this retreat into Weirdeer, though. This forces a lot more from the Miraidon player to take another KO. If we just saw a Lightning Energy in the hand of 9 cards in a deck with 20 Lightning Energies, we would more than likely see that and just take the first 2 prizes on the Lugia.
Finds the boss, so we're going to do that anyway.
But we're going to do that anyways because of the boss. You are correct. That was an extra piece to need, though.
Yeah.
Alternatively, we would also, if we didn't have the boss, that would force us to find the retreat, hit the generator, double hit on the Miraidon, attach an energy for turn on to the Miraidon. So it wasn't great, but the boss, much simpler out. What does Nira do here?
Kind of importantly, no other cards played by the Miraidon, though. It seems like the rest of the hand, outside of maybe these 2 prize cards we just took, not a lot of action going on. Drawing the Lugia is very nice.
Yeah, Lugia V-Star does hit the board. And I don't know if there's two Archeops, but I honestly don't hate going for the solo chops. There is the double chops. Perfect. Now, as long as we can draw into this Chinchino, we are in a good spot. We are forcing the most out of our opponent. Of course,
We can
hands would
Ino them
have
to
to be the
4 as
KO.
well.
Are we going to see this Legacy go on the Minccino?
Seems like it's going on the Lugia.
You are correct. I like that play a lot, actually. Because now, just putting a big, beefy, essentially one prizer that cannot be handsed.
V-Guard might matter as well here.
Yeah, no gift, interestingly enough. But I guess we are Ionoing to 6, taking prizes. Yeah, so the gift doesn't actually matter. I like that. Lugia player knows knows what he's doing a lot more than I do.
Here's
Debating
the
maybe
Ino.
benching the Wellspring, but yeah, I definitely do agree with that Iono. Maybe he was debating also bossing.
Capturing Roma might find us Arsenchino.
Could find us Chinchino, could find us Minccino as well, a second one. In case our first one does get handsed. So I like this board a lot, actually. Pretty well played. Plus the Iono to 4 is the cherry on top. Don't know how many generators were down from the Miraidon side since we missed the beginning of the first turn a little bit.
Seems like either not very many or they all missed because there were only 2 energies on board, right?
Yeah, plus none were played in the second turn. So if you're the Miraidon player here, what are you looking to do this turn?
Maybe we're handsing the... I don't know. We have to deal with the Lugia in some way.
I think we might just try to win with double gust is another route, right? Because I think maybe if you take the one prize, you might just lose.
The problem is
Hands the
Cinchino and Weirdeer are both threats.
Yeah, that's so scary. Yeah, maybe you can hands the Chinchino, you can 220 the Wordeer, you could even hands an Archeops, maybe. Do you see Fez drawing us some cards? But we do need a lot. There's the gen.
One generator. First step, we need to build up the Iron Hands. And a whiff on the generator, no, it doesn't help with that.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts a lot.
Okay, Magneton can do it though, right?
Yep, as long as Magneton is in the deck, and surely there's more than 3 lightning energies in the discard.
The one prize doesn't matter so much here with the Legacy energy already committed to the Lugia. They're going to be taking 2 and 2 regardless.
Yep, so we do see the Magneton as the grab. Alternatively, we could have just seen... If we're not able to attack here, we could just see keeping Pikachu in the active and passing. Although that isn't a great feeling when your opponent's playing Lugia with 4 Boss and 2 Lumineons, 4 Ultra Balls. But that's like plan C or D. Curious to see where these energies go. Is it on the hands?
A split.
Split.
Nice.
I'm assuming that's going to be an attach for turn on to the Miraidon then.
Yep, seems like it.
Do we have the Gust, or are we taking the one prize? Nope, it's the DT on the hands. Nest for Mew EX drawn to the boss? Is that? Yeah, I think that's that's what we're praying for here.
The DT, the damage changing actually matters here, right?
That is true. You cannot hands the Chinchino, but you can hands an Archeops. We do see Gen at least hit 1, since Live is telling us that our opponent here is moving cards.
Has actions to take, yep.
Oh, we're putting an extra one on the Miraidon. Oh yeah, since there's not really another great way to put it, way to place it.
There's only one prize here because of the Legacy energy.
So that's a big opportunity if you are the Lugia player here. Because that is essentially a whiffed knockout. A whiffed 2 prize turn gives Nira a huge opportunity to just go 2-2. You just got to take, well, 2-1 even, since that Magneton was able to give you was able to give you a prize. As long as you don't bench another Lugia V here, you should be fine.
Right. No way for
Even
the
then,
opponent to
it's
take
got a
3
DT.
prizes in 1 turn as it stands.
Exactly. Or honestly, it's just don't bench the squawk that's in your hand. Because Lugia V only takes 200 damage since the DT was placed on the hands.
No ways of sneaking around extra damage counters in Miraidon. It's really just the damage is what you get.
Yep, the only sort of damage amplifier that we see is the Go Zapdos in this list, which is not a card that we see often, but I do very much enjoy playing some Zapdos.
Yeah, I think it
But
still plays a very important role in a lot of matchups.
exactly, just 230 instead of 220 is a huge number against like Terapagos and a lot of other Pokemon. But it's not helping here. I guess it could help us actually amp a Chinchino, but I
Right,
don't
could
think
be a
that's getting
factor.
us the win. Nessa goes for the Lugia Hidden Heads. Since when does that happen?
Finds Luminion for a boss, perhaps, if they need it. It seems like Lugia's in a very good spot here.
Yeah, I think we're just taking the Lumineon for next turn in case our opponent sticks something that we can't take a KO on, like that
The
Pikachu
Pikachu.
EX to try to buy a turn. No. Oh, there is one copy of Judge in this Miraidon list. A lot of Miraidon lists don't play any hand disrupt, but this one does.
So we'll see what we can do here. 7 cards in hand after the Pheasantipity here.
Flip the script. Going to need a lot. We do see Bravery Charm could maybe play a factor in here. One copy in the Miraidon deck as well.
Arvin, the
Arvin
supporter.
searches for a tool. It could be the Bravery Charm. Prime Bravery Charm. Are we using this Prime Catcher though?
Retreating
If
the
you don't,
Mew for now.
yeah, if you don't KO this Chinchino, you're kind of in a bad spot.
It seems like leaving the Pikachu in the active and hoping is going to be the play here.
Well, we do still have the Prime Catcher though. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Playing musical chairs with our Pokemon in the active spot. In comes the Archeops.
Why did we need to retreat?
Style points, man. So this Charm, given 280 HP to the hands, not enough. Special roll 70 times the amount of energies on this Chinchino, so it is 280, exactly the amount needed to take this KO on his hands and clean up the game, giving Mira a clean 2-1 win in the top 4.
Lugia winning over Miraidon feels pretty bad for the Miraidon player. It usually is a matchup you'd like to see, but
sometimes that's the way it goes. Just whiffing that, taking that one prize, like the turn that he only got one prize on that Legacy Lugia was just really tough.
yeah.
It's ultimately what costed him the game. If that restart had hit a gust, we would have been looking at a much different game. But thankfully for Mira, sorry, I keep calling them Mira. It is Nira, SSBU. But moving on to top 4, where they will fight the winner of Lugia versus Roaring Moon Lost Box. Not a deck that I have seen in a while, so I'd love to see that. Or even a Lugia mirror, who would make my prediction feel a lot safer.
Meanwhile, on the other side, the Drago is performing very well, as I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Made it to top 4.
I think for the storyline, I love Charizard, but for the storyline, can we get Drago Lugia finals? My prediction versus your prediction. So, but yeah, like you said, Drago's doing pretty well and pretty happy to see BML, our Spanish Zard player, in his path again. More Zards. It's definitely a matchup you like seeing as Drago.
That's going to be what we're going to jump into here in a second as well. Our first top 4 match.
I just opened our first, or our Drago players list for the first time. He's playing some sauce.
Oh.
He's got the One of Lance.
Ooh.
Which is a card that a lot of people hyped up.
With Dragapult.
When Dragapult was first announced. Now the card is getting a little bit more hype, because of item lock being very prevalent in the next format. So it's a way to get 3 dragon Pokemon in one swoop without the use of an item. And I mean, the synergy is very obvious when a Regidrago deck, right? I mean,
Oh,
your Regidrago, it's like a dragon-based deck. You want dragons in your discard, you want dragons in your hand. A lot of flexibility with the card. I like the inclusion. I mean, especially if you're able to find it at the right time. As we see our Zard player once again, BLA, right? What's his name? BML.
BML.
I'm inventing names here.
Already up
BML.
1 game. This is game number 2.
Ooh, so BML was able to clutch the matchup that is supposed to be Charizard's weakness. As we see, as a starting Mew is not what you want whatsoever. That dark weakness plus just having 180 HP means he is vulnerable to a Charizard and a Gust, but thankfully for him, this Zard hand is playable, but it leaves a little something to be desired.
It has the Forest Seal Stone, but you really don't want to use the V-Star power so early. And not even going to get... Well, we might have to now, right?
Yeah, I
for
think we're gonna,
Poffin.
I think so, and I really like this grab of the Radiant Charizard because if our opponent here... Oh wait, where his pot?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's gonna
Okay.
Arbor. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, okay. That is even better because you get to grab Defiance Band here. Oh, it's prized. Defiance being prized is actually huge because I was gonna say you're most likely gonna grab Charmander Pidgey here, and if your opponent Phantom Dives, takes a 3 prize turn on Lumineon Pidgey, all you needed was a Fire Energy and a Defiance Band, which you would have had in hand had that Defiance Band not been prized. So you would have gotten the KO on the Regidrago V-Star. But now we're a crucial piece short. We do still have a 2 prize KO with the counter catcher that's in our hand, but not taking the Drago V-Star isn't great.
Yeah. If Drago can pop off this turn, it's a great start. Like, you get so far ahead, it feels like.
Also, maybe you just take the 3, because your opponent just telegraphed that they prize their Defiance Band, or it's already in hand. Do you take the risk? It's weird. It's a weird call. Ideally, also, I would love to be able to bench another Ogerpon, because you do threaten a KO on the Radzard, or sorry, on a Zardy-X with the Ogerpons, but if this Radzard is able to counter catch or kill your Ogerpon, you could be in a little bit of a tricky spot.
It is also getting ahead of ourselves because Drago has to hit all of the pieces here.
Yep, that is true. So this Ultra Ball is going to be a big piece. It's the V-Star. Now we have Restart to draw us 3 additional cards. We just need an E-Switch because I believe the Dragapult is in the discard.
Yep.
We also do have the option of ripping the Legacy Star.
I think that's a second option after the restart.
That is plan B though, because I think ripping the the Legacy Star just puts you so vulnerable to that unfair stamp.
I feel like taking a turn off is not at all what you want to do here, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, we see the Iono, so we could still see a 6 fresh new cards, 7 cards if we decide to rip the Legacy Star. This hand is not much better from BML's side. The hand before the Iono wasn't great.
Fancy switch. There we go.
Ooh, and this could be a quick game 2. This, I mean, we got Ultra Ball for Fez to draw his cards. Is it going to be the Phantom Dive?
You're taking the 3 every day, yeah.
Oh,
no!
it's the egg!
Executor? Okay,
Why
2
aren't we
prizes.
Phantom Diving? I guess we're scared of the Defiance Band Fire play. Very, very respectable.
I suppose there is the Rotom still. We can Phantom Dive later.
Also, taking 3... Actually, I totally agree with this, because taking 3 is never really beneficial. And it also leaves you open to Candyzar Defiance. So I do think just going 2-2 is very plausible. No, that Fez just needed to get us 1 piece. Just needed to get us an Arven or a Candy and we would have had combo, but Fez coming up a little bit short. Cologne, Vacuum, Rod, Turo, all cards that are very strong in Charizard, but not very strong in this scenario. I think maybe debating if we use this counter catcher to trap up the next Regidrago V. We could also see this Poffin get played, grabbing us Charmander, not Charmeleon.
Thinking real hard about this one.
Debating the Charmeleon. I don't know how much Charmeleon helps you here, though.
Okay,
Does
hoping that
save
the
you.
counter catcher sticks.
Yep. Are we throwing up the Fez? Yeah. It is keeping it safe. Sadly, you cannot use Fez a second time. Would be great if you could. I kind of disagree with benching Duskull here. I don't think Duskull does much for you in this game anymore, and it becomes a liability if you ever try to attack with Radiant Charizard. Because the goal of attacking with Radiant Charizard is trying to make your opponent whiff that 2-prize turn, but with 60 HP Duskull on the bench, super easy to Phantom Dive if you're Regidrago.
Now our Drago player looking for either the switch or the prime catcher. They could get a huge turn here.
Yep, that would be very good. Able to take 2 on Pidgey Charmeleon would put in a lot of work. I guess that would mean your Duskull is alive, but again, don't know what Duskull does for you here.
Doesn't
You
help
are
the
already
math anymore, right? So
yeah, if they take a 2, you're already hitting for 300. There's no opportunity to do a Briar Dusknoir play since there are no 1-prizes on our opponent's board. Second Ogerpon comes down, makes me think maybe we got some Teal Dances to do. Alternatively, it's a lot harder than what you suggested, but alternatively, we can go attach fire to the active, doubly switch.
just build it the second one, yeah.
But I mean, not truly realistic.
Okay, well.
Unless
we, of course, still have the V-Star power.
we did also research away an E-switch, which makes this just a tad harder. I think we just didn't want to preemptively put the energy on the Regidrago V-Star, because energies on Ogerpons are very valuable in this matchup. Another Teal Dance. What are the draws going to be?
I feel like we probably have to rip the V-Star if we don't hit the switch or the prime catcher here.
This would be a bad turn to whiff, but also the stamp not played from BML, so it would leave you vulnerable to the stamp. Stamp Radzard. But I feel like you can kind of infer that the Defiance Band is prized, just based off of how BML whiffed or fail searched the Defiance Band in the first turn.
Yeah.
BML flashing the concede. He's not happy about this board, but could be a big opportunity if our Drago player just passes here. So do have Candy Pidgeot, manually evolve into Charizard. We can quick search for a counter catcher. Take a KO. We can quick search Dusclops if we want to go through the active.
Ultra Ball away, superior energy retrieval, and a Nest Ball.
I think we're thinning out the hand to try to get this restart up and going. Probably thinning out this Ogerpon means we're going to bench it. We're going to have a bench of 3 Ogerpon, 2 Dragos, and a Mew.
You want to fill up your bench? I feel like leaving space for the Fez is important. Yeah.
Oh. All right, so we are.
Why did we take the Ogerpon? I don't know.
I
Is
think
thinning
maybe
out
he was...
one rather than drawing 2 better? I don't think so.
I don't think so, right? Because it's essentially as if you drew into the Ogerpon.
Okay, V-Star power used, we didn't even find it.
We didn't find Switch or Prime. That's one rod down that was milled. That's an SCR.
Have we attached for turn yet? Is it double E-switch?
I don't think so. If we have a fire in hand, that is the play, but this list only playing 2 fire energies. So the chances that he has Vessel or fire in hand, pretty low. A 10-card deck.
Yikes! This is very scary. Now hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not great. What was the grab?
One was
Show
an energy
us.
switch. I didn't see what the other one was.
I think I saw research. Come on, BML, open the battle log.
Attach a
Our,
grass for turn.
we could double E-switch
The
the... Okay,
fire
he is
from
going...
the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, we're just E-switching the grass and we're passing here.
Okay, Charizard player gets to do all they want this turn.
This is your chance to shine, BML.
Don't even need the candy since the Charmeleon is in the active.
Now, if you are able to countercatcher this Ogerpon with 2 grass and take the KO on it, it can be very sketch for your opponent to find a KO here. We are down 3 E-switch, I believe. Being down 3 E-switch
It could be just
means...
2, right?
I think we were down 2. Oh yeah, but we grabbed another one. But still, I mean, we would have to find another Ogerpon or E-switch away from one of your Dragos to get the KO. And then if you do get the KO, now you're really out of resources. This Ogerpon gets KO'd. Now your opponent needs to find a Gust. If you're able to evolve all your Pokemon, they don't have a 2-prize turn with a Regidrago. So this is definitely the best play. I definitely like this. You want to get rid of as many energies as possible. There's also a chance that your opponent might not have enough energies left to close out the game.
Right.
Because we did see Rod and SCR get discarded in that last turn.
Kind of wonder
As
what
they
they
got...
kept in their hand, you know, if those were the
Yeah.
discard targets.
And you have to imagine that the hand's not great, because we did grab Research. We know we have a Research in the hand from the Legacy Star.
We're kind of running...
So,
Okay, second rod.
there's the second Rod.
I was going to say, we're kind of running out of just cards in general.
Yeah, I mean, if we Research here, we're going down to 2 cards. Well, plus the 3 from the Rod, so we're going to have 5 cards left in deck.
But then if you ever Pheasantipity draw, you know, we're running really thin.
Yeah. Plus, you have to assume that we're going to play some of these grass energies that we just super rotted in if we research into them. Researching away a boss. As long as it's not prized, I do know the Prime Catcher hasn't been used.
Sealed Ants are down to 4 cards in deck. This is the mill player in me is just frothing right now. One great tusk away. Like
I do see the E-switch, so we are seeing the KO with Ogerpon. This still puts a lot of pressure on our Zard player here. And again, benching this Duskull just makes it so much easier for Eze to get this KO, since ideally here you'd want to attack with a 1-prize Radzard. But if you do, Phantom Dive just takes the KO as long as we have 1 attach.
yeah, so it might need to try to build up a second Charizard and hope that this one sticks. The Giratina into the discard. Could be important for taking out that Pidgeot, is the perfect amount of damage, the 280. It is going to be the knockout on the active Charizard at the very least. This Myriad Leaf Shower.
Hidden for weakness, hitting a big amount of damage. 5 energies total on
Flip
both
the script.
actives.
Oh my gosh.
We're counting the cards. He knows.
I guess saying we're going to win on the next turn and we're going to lose the game, which makes sense.
Now here, if I am the Zard player,
We're winning
I'm
this turn? Question mark?
Do we not have a Rod? Like, we don't have Rods left. We don't have... Huh?
Hold on.
Did he just brain fart? I don't think we had to use that Teal Dance. Those are your 2 Rods gone. You already supported. You can't Iono. Oh no.
This can't. Okay.
No!
We just passed the turn. The game is over.
Dude, you hate to see it. Because I think he was in a very, very strong position. Because all he needed was to attach, and you're either Kiraming the Charmander and the Duskull, or you're Phantom Diving the Radzard and the Duskull.
Yeah.
As long as you're able to find a Grass Energy or a Fire Energy.
And you have your whole deck in the hand, like at that
Yeah,
point.
which he rotted back 3 Grass. He should have the Grass.
It's a head scratcher on that one.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a brain fart. I hate to see it though. Hate to see it if you're a Regidrago fan, because BML needed a lot of pieces to clean up his board to try to prevent a Regidrago from taking the last 2 prizes he needs. But BML will take that as he moves on to finals. Your prediction was very close.
Yeah, very, very close.
But not close enough. We see, funnily enough, the 2 players that we have been following are the furthest right now.
Yeah, Nira and BML.
We got some plot armor. R2D2 Wreck on the Lugia, still playing against this Roaring Moon Lost Box player. How do you think that matchup goes?
I feel like the legacy energy can make it very difficult for Lost Box.
Yeah, I think the legacy, especially when combined with the mist, can cause a lot of problems because you do have ways to play around the legacy energy with things like Frenzied Gouging and Lost Mine. But Lost Mine Lost Mine and Frenzied Gouging get blocked by mist. So
And just having Iron Hands as an attacker against the comfies that will be on the board.
yeah, and there's not really a way around that if you're Lost Box because you kind of have to play with Comfy, right? Oh, especially R2D2 plays the Flutter Mane. So I definitely think that matchup is very, very favored for him.
See here, he's already 1 game up, so they're in game number 2 here.
Makes a lot of sense. So we might see a Lugia mirror in our next round. Love to see how that goes. That's always a really interesting one to me.
And then Lugia Charizard in the finals, perhaps.
Yeah, let's see if the Lost Box is going to make a big comeback. Lugia is prone to doing some silly bricks.
Well, while we wait for that match to finish up, as neither of them are streaming, we're going to take a quick break. But don't go anywhere because top 4 and the finals are coming up right after this. So
see you guys in a bit.
Welcome back, folks. It is time for the top 4 into finals here.
Nope. What do we got on the other side?
We have 2 Lugias waiting for us.
There you go. So my prediction looking not too bad.
Yep.
Guaranteed Lugia in finals. We got R2D2 Rec versus our hometown hero, person we've been following since basically the first set that we've streamed, Nira SSBU.
So also guaranteed Lugia Charizard in the finals.
Yep.
So it is looking pretty good for Lugia. Oop, instant crash. Okay, no, we're good.
Okay, we're good. Got scared for a sec. I want to pull up both of their lists, see what differences we got here. Usually Lugia, usually Lugia lists aren't too far off.
Right.
Notable inclusions on the side.
There's an Iron Bundle in R2D2s.
Yeah. R2D2's got Iron Bundle and Fluttermane.
And a Carmine, which could matter.
Carmine, some Great Balls. And on the other side, we've got more of a standard Kieran 60 list from the side of Nira. I think Kieran's exact 60. So R2D2 kind of just going for like a slightly different engine with some more Great Balls, no Squawk, a little bit more utility with that Fluttermane and that Iron Bundle. Still the 2-2 Rat though. Whoa, a lot less thin on the supporter count.
Got to make cuts somewhere.
Yeah.
They have the turn 1 Carmine though. Hey, 1 Archeops in the bin.
Yep, so that is essentially the replacement for Squawkability. You still got your turn 1 dump and draw, but this
no
time
other
in the
benches.
form of supporter.
That's pretty scary.
Do see the Messagos get flipped.
Tails here. It seems like this is going to have to be attached and research. Not too worried about.
Yeah, 1 Chop's hitting the bin. Pretty good. So 1 Archeops on both sides of the field here.
Tails.
And another Tails. We could still see the Squawk.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
it would be losing out on all of your bosses, though. There's already 1 you had to throw away, and throwing away 2 more doesn't feel great.
Yeah, I don't think that's a play now that you mentioned that. Seeing another Capturing Aroma get played.
That's what we want to see.
How do you discard it is the thing.
Can't be this turn, but maybe next turn.
So now here's a weird debate. Does this Lugia V get benched? Because of course, if R2D2 here hits everything, is able to hit the Gust, the second Chops, you're pretty behind. But now, benching the second Lugia does mean you have an extra 2 prize liability on your board. But it's just going to be the beat for 10. Don't think it fixes any crazy numbers, but we'll take damage.
Fun to see. Yeah.
Now, what's the hand looking like on the other side? We do see Great Ball grabbing us Minccino. Minccino gonna hit the bench. Do we have some more cards to play? Is it gonna be a Read the Wind?
Any more playable cards would be nice, yeah.
We could flip Messagoza as well, which we do. Heads could be big.
Yeah, actually.
At the very least, this is a Chops that gets discarded off the Read the Wind. Could be a second Lugia, so that you don't just immediately lose if your only Lugia goes down.
Seems to be the thought. There's some choices being made here.
Could also be Luminion. We haven't supported this turn. We could maybe see a research if there's an Archeops in the hand. Iono.
Or an Iono. We know that the opponent took an Archeops, right? Or took a... Yeah, we do know. It was from Aroa.
Exactly. So Luminion was the choice. Do we have another Lugia V to bench is the big question on my mind here. Or do we have an energy to attach to at least retreat if we do whiff? Because you definitely don't want your lone Lugia sitting there. We do have Ultra Ball, though, getting the second Chops in the discard, so we are attacking this turn. Is it going to be Luminion for boss?
R2, they can
Right.
find the Iron Bundle also, would be sick right now.
Yeah. Wait, so why did we ever grab Luminion? We didn't need it.
I don't know.
Could have been a second Minccino. Maybe it was prized.
We can get Luminion again. Yeah,
Oh,
it
he's
is.
back.
Oh my gosh.
What is going on?
Here's our summoning star. 2 Archeops.
I sure hope he has bundle in hand here, because I mean, maybe Tempest diving this for 1 isn't
It's not the
awful, because
worst. You get rid of the Messagoza at the same time.
you're forcing your opponent to also like either 2-shot this Lugia or take a 1 prize, or like have hands boss, which is a lot more to ask. We do see the 220 just hitting the Minccino, though. I do find it pretty interesting that we didn't see not even a hands or anything. We did have the ways to search for the Pokemon, but we opted to get Luminion
Twice.
twice. But that is scary though, because if you are the Lugia player here, because you know that boss essentially is in their hand, right? Luminion for boss, so you know that your Archeops
We don't have a way to discard this Archeops yet, though.
Yeah, are we hoping to hit Messagoza heads for Luminion? That's scary. If not,
the
that's a second
Messagoza might.
chance.
Okay, it's bailed out.
So we do have the Lugia V-Star.
Then we have to research another boss away, though.
We do play 4 copies in this list, so that's 2 more. And if we're researching, we're not bossing. So this Lugia is just going to get hit for 220. We could always clean it up with an amp later to take extra prizes.
A couple awkward turns from both players.
Lugia sometimes just lends itself to some weird shenanigans going on.
Now, at the very least, both players are set up. They have 2 Archeops on the bench. I think the key card here is going to be that Minccino on one side and none on this side.
For sure, just because it is a lot easier to respond to a Lugia V-Star when you can hit that 280 number pretty easily with Cinccino. Especially 7 cards in this hand. Surely one of them's got to be an Ultra Ball, a Capturing Aroma, a Great Ball. Maybe just the Cinccino Raw itself. Even Jacques gets us there.
We're not going to set up our own, so the Ultra Ball's sitting around.
Yeah, I would have loved to see the Minccino get benched here just to put more pressure on the board. Once this Lugia V-Star goes down, there is still the opportunity, or the possibility of Bear, another Pokemon that you just can't really KO that easily. So right now, I think if I'm R2D2, I'm feeling pretty confident. Not only does he have the Cinccino, he took the first kill, but also his board is almost exclusively single prize Pokemon, and he also gets the second Minccino down. So the pressure here is really on if you're Nira.
Going to be a 2 prize knockout on the only V-Star for now, and the threat of another one shot with the second Cinccino coming up.
Yeah, that's what makes Lugia such a good deck, is Cinccino just puts on so much pressure, because you don't really want to KO it and take 1 prize, especially when you're already 3 prize behind. But
you have to. It is that much of a threat.
And like, you also kind of have to KO it, which just plays into gift energy, so you can't hand disrupt them really.
Yeah.
This is just the perfect Lugia board. You got double Minchinos down.
Okay, the Aqua return could be huge here, though, actually. It's a nice use of it. It gets rid of the fish on the board, the bench.
Oh, no, I think we're going for the torrential pump to KO both Cinchinos. Wow, that's actually a really good play that I didn't think of. Wellspring Ogerpon, a new addition to these Lugia decks. They didn't used to always play them.
Is it enough though? What isn't is the base 120 or the base 100?
It's oh wait, Is it 120, 100, or 100, 120? I have not used that. When I use that card, it's in control, and I'm using Sob,
Yeah.
so it is 100, 120. So
Yeah.
but he does have the boss in his hand, so he can still do it.
Sure.
He can still
Okay.
do it. But this is a little. It's still pretty tricky to be in because yes, you are KOing these two Chinchinos or one Minchino, one Chinchino effectively, but you are still pretty behind. And since R2D2 took that first KO on a one prizer, he can go through this legacy energy just fine.
Mm-hmm. Let's find the backup V star at the very least.
That's good. At least it will be safe from Tempest Dive. Oh, we're opting to
Okay.
not KO
I like this too.
the
I like this
double
too.
Minchino. Yeah, this leaves a pretty good line here. Taking 3 prizes, he can win in 2 attacks. It also leaves the option for Torrential Pump again. If this Ogerpon doesn't get KO'd, we can Torrential Pump Chinchino, maybe put some damage on something.
At the very least, we're taking 3 prizes this turn. We're getting rid of 2 of the main attacking threats on the bench. I think you want to have the legacy energy on this Ogerpon.
I think we're debating, do we rather gift or legacy? Gift is the choice to keep. So the legacy energy does get shuffled back in.
It means that the -1 prize card probably won't come into play this game, unfortunately. But
Yeah, which does make sense because R2D2 is at 3 prizes, so he will have to win the game in 2 attacks regardless.
I suppose maybe you could set up your own Cinchino eventually, but we didn't set up the Minchino, so
Yeah, I would have maybe liked to see this Ultra Ball go towards Minchino. I'm not sure if it's prized.
Tails actually kind of what you want. Well, I guess we need to find the Cinchino, but
Fluttermane gonna thin it out of the deck. This could be big for Nira if we whiff the Chinchino attack here. Iron Bundle gets
Bundle doesn't
benched.
help this turn.
At the very least, we do have a fully 1 prize board. Although that doesn't really matter much, especially Legacies in the deck. We can grab Iron Hands with this Ultra Ball. We can also Torrential Pump now that the bundle has been benched. We do see the bear hit the board though, so we do have a KO at least this turn.
It was 2 double turbos. It's a lot of energy in the discard.
That is a lot of energy. Thankfully, this bear
Finds the
with its
Cinchino.
seasoned skill ability does take 3 energies less to attack. So 2 energies if he wants to attack with his bear for the KO.
So now with this KO on the Ogerpon, there's 2 scary attacking threats on the opponent's board. Both the Ursaluna and the Cinchino kind of have to be dealt with.
Yeah, so I think for sure you have to attack with something. You want a Pokemon that doesn't get KO'd by Ursaluna in your active next turn. There's 2 ways of going about this. Either we can attack with Aqua
I
Return for
think,
this
yeah, it
KO
has
and
to be, right?
promote the Lugia. Yeah, or we can just attack with the Lugia, but then we lose to boss. But you lose to boss regardless, so I think it might just be a Lugia V-Star swing.
Yeah, I suppose. Kind of the same. You get the energy preset on the Lugia at the very least.
Yeah, and then if your Lugia does survive, you can Wordeer for the following turn to take a KO on the bear for 2 prizes. As we see double jet
Huh?
onto the Lugia. I would have liked to see the mist get placed there. Well, I guess it doesn't super matter. We're attaching even an extra energy just to set up for the Wordeer. We want as many energies on the board to be able to close out this game the following turn. I'd like to see maybe this Ultra Ball get played just to thin out some of these cards in your hand, because if you do get Iono'd, you want to draw into a Wordeer.
Could
I
have
would have
Iona'd
again.
ourselves as well.
Yeah, but then it becomes a little tough. You already have the Wordeer in your hand, so maybe not. the question is just if I get 240 here, how do I take
Sure.
the next KO? Oh, the legacy on the
Legacy
bear
is
though, that's
huge.
big. And a boss. So that's
That didn't
game
matter.
1.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was super tricky because um Nira did have still an out, of course, with Gust Iron Hands, but again, that's a lot to ask for, especially because I don't know if we had the energies left to do that. Regardless, though, R2D2 taking the first game, uh, he got chops down first, and it looked like that was just a huge push,
Yeah,
huge
if both decks are
benefit.
functioning, the one that can do it first faster seems like they're way ahead.
Makes sense to me.
We could have also seen that the some of the tech cards be come into play, but
hmm That is true, right? I don't think he actually needed boss near the end because I think he had bundle for game, right?
mhm,
Did we just miss that?
yeah.
Because he only had one Lugia V star on the board, I believe. So yeah, we are some silly commentators. But I believe they did have the Ursaluna in hand, so they definitely could have just benched it to prevent bundle from.
Yeah, there were a lot of turns where Nira kind of just was holding on to all of their cards.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the Ultra Ball be played. I think we held onto an Ultra Ball like almost since turn 1. Could have maybe been putting some pressure with a Minchino. Let's see though, game 2. I'm assuming Nira is gonna start. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, you gotta go first, as Lugia.
Not only are you going first, your opponent's going second. Just if you're able to get, if you're the first one to announce Summoning Star, you should be in a pretty decent position. As we see, of course, Mira opts to go first.
Let's see if Lugia can function once again.
Pretty decent starting hand, I would say. The only annoying thing is this Legacy Energy. You do not want Legacy Energy in your hand, especially when you're looking to like maybe Squawk.
Yeah, I'll have to preemptively attach it, perhaps.
Yeah, this is interesting too. Benching the 2 Lugia Vs. Not sure how I feel about that, because you don't want to put that many 2 prize liabilities. We saw R2D2 in that late game get amazing use out of keeping a 1 prize board, so sorry.
With the lower rat count, though, it makes sense. I think,
I
especially
think,
too, it's a defense against bundle, perhaps.
yep, that is true. We do see the Nest Ball Squawk with that top deck Archeops. I cannot blame him. Double chops in the bin. Legacy going on the Lugia, effectively turning it into a 1 prize Pokemon. And a Minchino down. This is pretty much as good as your turn 2 or your turn 1 can go. Tails, so will be another basic Pokemon getting added to the hand.
Luminion for next turn, probably.
But we already do
Or
have
just fail
research.
it.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Sure.
I agree, because we do have the research and no bench space for Luminion, so I'd rather keep that Luminion in the deck, just for maybe a potential boss in the late game. Looking much, much better
Great ball
than
finds
game
an
1.
Archeops. Seems like R2 is going to find a lot of what they need here as well. Nest Ball finds us a Lugia V. Do we see the turn 1 card? I guess they can play any supporter now this game, but it is Carmine.
Oh, it is Carmine. Double chops! 1 Chinchino down, though, so there is no possibility for double Chinchino this game. Sure, R2D2 sure wish he can evolve this Minchino right away.
It is a little odd after seeing, every single deck pretty much in the meta playing heavily around Night Stretchers and getting resources back. The return to a deck like Lugia where if it's in the discard, it is gone, baby. Like
It's
it
gone. We've seen like some, especially when Legacy came out, we saw like some
Roseanne's,
Roseanne's
yeah.
backup, but like it wasn't great. We see the beat coming from R2D2 again. This kind of a mirror of last game. Ooh, Triple research. Looks like
See what
we're
we
not
can
researching
find.
for the rest of the game, basically.
No V-Star.
Oh, no V-Star, not even an Ultra Ball.
We're reading the wind.
That sucks. That's a big whiff. But we do have Read the Wind. Let's see if R2D2 can capitalize on this big opportunity.
Is the one turn enough? They have their own
Lugia
V-Star.
V-Star.
Yep. Okay.
Do we have the Chinchino too? Not that we necessarily need it. We do have just Tempest Dive is good enough to take this KO here. And honestly, Bundle would kind of hurt.
Yeah.
It's either you're giving up 2 prizes or you're giving up that Chinchino. So maybe the Tech Bundle can come into play this turn. Does he have it in the 4-card hand? Waiting to see. Think maybe.
Okay. Restart the stream a little bit. Quick break.
Uh-oh.
Quick little repose. Hold on.
A little bit of technical issues.
They're
That's
actually out
okay.
of the Discord entirely. I wonder if their like computer froze.
Uh-oh, that wouldn't be great. I think that game was going to come down to basically that turn from R2D2. If he was able to hit the bundle, take the first 2, or KO the only Chinchino in play, he was in a pretty good spot. It just makes his Lugia V-Star next to invincible, you know, and we saw just how bad it can be to hit into that V-Star for 220. Definitely not the optimal play that you want to be going for. But on the other hand, we did have the Ultra Ball in hand to get the Lugia V-Star on the following turn. But down 0-1, you definitely want to be in a more comfortable spot than that. You don't want to have your opponent announce Summoning Star again for the first time.
Hmm.
Let's see what we can do here. If you guys are just tuning in, this is late night 2:33. This is our top 4 Lugia Mirror. The winner of this goes on to the finals to play against our Charizard player, Charizard Pidgeot, playing a standard list. And if you want to play some Pokemon cards, we do have late night 234, the NA version. Starting now, basically round 1 is going on right now. It is still not too late to enter. Just go to play.limitlesstcg.com, join up, import your favorite deck, and good luck. You will start with a round 1 loss because it is a little late. It did start at 7 o'clock, but still does not mean you're out of the race. You can potentially be streamed on this very channel if you make the top 16 cut. We're going to have 2 different amazing commentators for the NA build. The NA tourney.
Okay, it was just the Discord crashing. So the game is still active. They're still playing. We're getting it back.
Okay, that's the
best case scenario. Okay.
Alright, so we are working on getting the stream back up. I'm pretty excited that regardless of what happens here, we will see a Lugia versus Zard finals, which is a very good, interesting matchup, and also just goes to show how diverse this meta is. Last week we had Guardy versus Drago. Guardy versus Drago nowhere near this top 4, just keeping the diversity up.
Which of these two, so we have 2 slightly different Lugia builds, which one would you rather be playing as against as the Charizard?
Let me see.
It's got to be the one without the 2 Cinchinos, right?
They both have 2/2 Chinchino.
Oh, okay. Just 2/2 Cinchino and Weird Ear? Wow.
Yeah, they're both. Oh, yeah. The the one playing Bundle and Fluttermane does not play Wordier. I would probably rather fight the one without Wordier, just because again that is not a threat. That is one less threat for your Charizards.
Okay, we got it back.
And
So we missed a couple turns. There was Summoning Star on R2's side. We've now lost the Lugia V Star, but we have a Cinccino that just knocked out the Lugia on their side.
so yeah, if I had to guess, R2D2 went through both of the Lugias on Nira's side. One, of course, having the Legacy, so it was worth one prize card here. Now, what is the play? If you are Nira, you are trying to win this game in 2 attacks. You are trying to take 4 prizes with just 2 attacks, which would involve a Gust being played this turn and an Iron Hands. But we don't have access to Legacy energy, actually, so it's not possible.
Yep,
So
no
this
more
isn't a
use.
great spot to be in.
Does have the building up the second Minccino, hoping for that Cinccino in hand to stick around.
Yep. So we are KOing this Cinccino.
A lot of
Currently,
cards in R2's hand, though.
as it stands, no Lugia on the board, so we're not seeing a Tempest Dive, but could be an Iron Hands here, could be an Aqua return into a 1-prizer. We could see a Wellspring Ogerpon plus a Gust taking out both of the little rats. A
Last
lot of
game,
options.
yeah. I kind of
This
don't
game
mind
so
the
far,
Aqua return here. Yeah.
I think that's what we're gonna see. Yeah, I would love to maybe if we have a Fluttermane to bench or a Minccino, being able to bench it would be pretty strong here. Because I definitely don't want an Aqua return into an Archeops. Doesn't seem great.
Luis in chat mentioning there's a Squawkabilly on the bench and 3 prize cards left. Iron Hand's very scary.
Oh, that is true. Did we?
It can't be
I
this
think we were
turn
just
because
whiffing the
Legacy's
Gust.
already on, but
Yeah, I think we might have just been whiffing the Gust to do that, but that is a very good shout. 3 prize turn. Could have been the game right there.
with
Looks
this
like we're
Aqua
taking
return, we can maybe retreat into the bear.
R2D2 emoting. Maybe he had the boss and he didn't see it right away. This is a tough game now. If you are Nira.
Yeah.
You
This
have to
Cinccino's gone. Oh, it's only 90. Hold up.
Oh, wait.
The
Why
V
is it
guard, the
90?
V
There's a
guard.
V guard. That's why we're emoting. Oh my god,
Oh,
I didn't
no.
even notice. I didn't notice. This is a bad troll here. And you see Nero with the boss in hand. If this Iron Hand goes down, we don't have a way to take a 3 prize turn next turn, and I think that might just be it. Oh no, who thinks of that?
So V guard energy, the attached Pokemon takes 30 less damage from Pokemon V. So instead of 120, it is only 90. Not enough for the knockout.
Dude, it's not a scenario that comes up often, I'd have to assume.
Really not.
You see a Cinccino, you're like, oh, it has 110 HP. Whatever, I can KO it.
Turns out. Special roll 280, knocking out this Iron Hands EX.
I think if we didn't have a Gust in our hand, maybe it would have still been fine for R2D2, but the fact that the hands goes down and we're not seeing that 3 prize turn, the writing's basically on the wall. You got your 2 Cinchinos set up. If I'm R2D2, I'm just going first in game 3, and I've already forgotten about game 2.
Yeah. Don't let
It is
yourself get tilted from a little, mind blank. Don't read the cards a little bit, but
Yeah, that is very important though. You got to stay locked in, because yes, you did make a crucial mistake, but there's nothing you could do about it now. Don't get in your head about it. Do see Luminion get played, so we're still fighting. Not sure exactly what we're fighting for, but we're fighting. If there is no time limit, I guess it does make sense to keep playing. Maybe you can get some info on, like, some deck knowledge, I guess. But it is open deck list, actually, so never mind.
Using the Iron Bundle for fun.
We could also maybe Ogre Pawn the 2 Chinchinos.
But you wouldn't have done bundle in that case.
Yeah. But I don't... Yeah, we would need to jet him... Yeah, we would need to jet him in. Because we can't use a DT, so we'd have to or attach retreat. But I don't know... Oh, it looks like we're still maybe going for it.
I know one. But if we're not, I mean, we can't knock out this active.
Yeah, but even then, does he have enough energies in the deck to just double Primal Turbo onto Wordier and take the KO? Don't know
Just
how many
needs
energies.
any prizes at all, right?
Yeah, and we are triggering gift energy
I
here.
mean, we're not knocking out both Cinchinos is the problem.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
So we're going for a 0 prize Fluttermane. The Chinchino on the bench.
Yeah, the benched one is gone, but it's only 90 to active.
So then we can try to do something creative later.
70.
It is 70 actually because of the DT.
This
importantly does not trigger gift.
Right.
So this is actually, you know, I take it back. R2D2 with a fantastic line that I didn't see. Ultra Ball. If this Aroma hits tails, I think that should be game as long as Luminion is in the deck. One of 2 copies.
Oh.
There you go.
Leave it to Lugia to leave it up to a coin flip.
There you go. Just making sure that the boss is in the deck, which it is. And voila. I don't know if... Yeah, it would have came down to R2D2 having a boss on that last turn.
Oh, wait, Fluttermane.
That's fine.
Okay.
Fluttermane only blocks active.
Gotcha. I got scared because the client stopped for a second.
Yeah. But we should be good to just take this KO here. No shenanigans. Just gonna boss up a 1 prizer. Take the last the last prize, and we're going to a game 3 to determine who is the Lugia that is going to go to the finals.
The finals. Some little tricks that you could do with the Fluttermane though. That's some thoughts.
That was pretty cute. He can say that was intentional. He tried to 90 into the 2 damage counters. Perfect math. Of course, Mist Energy would have blocked that play, but no Mist on the Chinchino. And I do not blame Nira for not thinking about that. Because if you're thinking of, let me play around Aqua Return into Gust Bundle Fluttermane math, then you're just a better player than I will ever be. So that was pretty good pretty fun match to see because it was back and forth, and we got to see the techs from R2D2 here actually see some play. The Fluttermane was clutch. The bundle was clutch. The Pheasantipity has yet to see play though.
Yeah, it's hard to use that one. It feels like
it's a pretty big liability when it comes to this matchup. I feel R2D2 has been playing for really keeping that 1 prize board a lot. R2D2 is one of these players that I always see in these limitless tourneys, and he's always somehow at the top tables.
Consistency is great.
Usually rocking that Lugia as well. Being consistent with Lugia, not an easy feat. As we see Nira's hand not starting off too strong, if I'm being honest.
Yep. Lots of energy that you don't want to discard. Only 1 ball search for a Lugia or anything else.
Just starting that legacy just doesn't ever feel great. Like, maybe with this Ultra Ball has to go towards Luminion, and Luminion just has to get me Iono, because you sure aren't researching away your Wordeer, your Double Gift, GTE Legacy.
Great Ball finds the hands, which we are benching because I think we're Carmining this turn.
Yep. Able to use Supporter on his first turn.
How many
Not something you
Archeops?
usually see.
One Archeops, not the worst.
It's a pretty good start.
No other playable cards, so now we'll see what Nira can do here. Nest Ball helps a tiny bit.
It's definitely a decent top deck here. We can Nest Ball. We're attaching the Legacy already to the Minccino, effectively making it a 0 prize Pokemon. Let's see what this Nest Ball gets us.
So Ultra Ball for one Archeops, squawk away at one.
Yeah.
The two gifts losing are a little annoying.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough spot because they're only having one energy to attach, obviously. So it's either he loses his Legacy or his gifts. We're benching the Wordeer. That's a lot of 2 prize Pokemon, but then again, R2D2 as well, having a lot on his board. There's one Chops,
Okay.
and there's a Nest Ball for the Lugia V. If we were whiffing Lugia V there, that would have been a disaster.
I don't know about playing the Mesagoza here. Gives your opponents more outs, and what are we searching for this turn? I guess a second Minccino, maybe?
But if you bench a Minccino here, you are locked,
Oh,
and
there's
your
not even a
opponent...
second one.
There's no second one.
Prize.
I also think benching Minccino would be terrible here because your opponent can force you to either only play a 1 Archeops game or just wait until he hits boss's orders, KOs your only Lugia V, and now you don't have Lugia V or Archeops. Now, I think we're debating maybe benching the second Lugia V. I really don't like this Wordier bench. I think this Wordier should have just been discarded because the bench is tight when you play Lugia, man, especially when you play Squawk. You always got to keep 2 spots for your Archeops.
So ending up Mesagozing for a Pokemon we're not playing. Not the greatest look.
A huge opportunity. If you're R2D2, the bundle getting searched. Bundle can go really hard here, basically forcing a 2 prize KO if we have the Tempest Dive.
2 prizes is a lot better than 0, so I like it.
We opt to give the Wordier instead of the Squawk. I guess we're not trying to give up 3 prizes to this Iron Hands.
It also forces the correct energies onto the Lugia V-Star. Like, you can't use any double turbos.
That is true. See the Mesagoza hit heads there.
Shouldn't have been in play. This wouldn't have happened.
R2D2 only has 1 Chops, though, I believe.
Right. That could be. Yeah. Until.
There's.
Yep.
Until the research. So that is no Gust on the Lugia V. Your Lugia V is at least safe, but 2 prizes will be rewarded to R2D2 after this Tempest Dive. As long as we just put the correct energies, just don't forget about DTE.
This allows the
There you
second Primal Turbo to go onto the hands this turn also.
Oh, that is pressure.
Or not. Just not using it.
Opting to save the energies. I like it.
Discard the Mesagoza. Take away options from your opponent.
No gift on this Lugia, though, does mean we are a little open to Iono. Although that's not a card that we have in our hand at the moment.
We have to play the Luminion this turn, right?
Yeah, and remind me how many Archeops we have in the discard? I believe
Just
only
a single one, yeah.
Oh, if we had 2 and this Luminion could have went towards an Iono instead of, like, surely now it's got to be research. But if we could have hand disrupted, KO'd this Lugia V-Star, maybe our opponent whiffs boss, we can force him to take the odd prize or even 0 prizes on this Cinccino. Could have been probably a slightly different game.
We need to hit the right cards off this research, it feels like.
Yeah, well, there's
Oh.
triple boss.
I want more setup though, is the problem.
I mean, what more could possibly be set up
Oh,
here,
right,
though?
right, because we the two bit. Yeah, sure.
We got our 2 Archeops. Our bench is filled with these support Pokemon. You see the mist immediately getting slammed on the Chinchino. No more Aqua Return into Fluttermane lines.
Wild a line as it is, yeah.
I wonder, are we going to see a gift on this Chinchino? Yep, it's going to be a gift. No V-Guard on the Chinchino, so Aqua Return will KO here. And Aqua Return is a pretty decent option here, I would say. Just removing the Luminion from play is just so good. Especially since your opponent, if you're taking the KO on the Chinchino, your opponent's only attacker on the board will be Lugia V-Star, which cannot KO an Iron Hands. See the bear get placed to hand. And the special roll.
Hey, taking 2 prizes. Yep. Some kind words from a chatter in Brazil. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying the stream. We're nearing the end. We got the last two matches here. So
yeah, Aqua Return. What do you think the best play here is? Do you agree with this Aqua Return? Is it maybe a Gust? Is it a hands on the Luminion? There's a lot of lines we can go for here.
yeah.
I think maybe you keep your hands safe and you try to take the 3 prizes on the following turn.
Aqua Return into Flutterbane.
That could be good.
And them down to 4 as well.
And benching the Minchino. So we've got pressure. Putting a lot of pressure with this board.
The good setup. Are we going to use the second Primal Turbo this turn? It feels like we have to, right?
I'd like to see maybe just a gift on the hands. If our opponent does want to take the 2 prize KO, at least we can draw cards out of it. We're seeing the gift on the Fluttermane, which is most likely to get pushed, so I like that too.
Yeah. This time, no V-Guard energy to interrupt this Aqua Return, so it is going to KO the Cinchino, albeit for 0 prizes.
0 prizes rewarded for a KO, which doesn't feel great, but taking that liability off the board, or sorry, that threat off the board keeps your board much more safe. Jacques is the top deck. Don't think it's going to be great in this scenario. I think ideally here we were looking for maybe a boss, try to gust up this Iron Hands, bear it.
Well, there's 3 bosses on the bottom of the deck, so
that is true.
Now they're shuffled in after this aroma.
Looks like bear will be the grab. Still a few things that could be done here. We could...
Kind of a shaky end game here.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great because, again, Nira having more 2 prize liabilities than R2-D2. Just, it punishes you hard in the long game. And I think R2-D2 has had the luxury of keeping his legacy around the whole game. This is 2 games, both game 2 and game 3, where Nira starts with the legacy in hand, kind of forcing some awkward placements of the legacy, not exactly where they want it to be placed. And they're getting punished now. Hands would have probably been a great play this turn, you know, take 2, keep up the pressure.
Another INO. Does give your opponent 1 more card, but double research, double Ultra Ball.
And we are going to use the Primal Turbo to shuffle up our deck once again, putting everything that we just put at the bottom into the mix. I wonder where these energies go now. Preemptively attaching to the bear. I guess to maybe just thin out the cards out of the deck, because these energies most likely going on Bear anyways. Bear surely is our next attacker, I'd have to imagine.
Needs more energy from the prizes.
And not a great spot. Now this hands is staring you down. Could take 2 prizes on the Archeops if they want. 3
I think it's going to
on
be
the
3.
Squawk and the
Yep.
Luminion. See Luminion grabbing boss here. R2D2 playing very quick.
Yeah, with the Cinchino set up on the bench, it feels like this attack with the Iron Hands has to be dealt with. And then they can retreat or just promote the Cinchino for the final KO.
Yeah, and that's pretty tough because no Gust here in hand. We do have the Ultra Ball. I'm not sure where the second Luminion is.
That
But
attached
here,
from
if
hand needed to be on the Cinchino, right?
what did we attach? The gift?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, it could have been a little bit awkward now. We have 1 energy extra with that DTE that we don't necessarily want on our hands, but now we are taking 3 prizes and we have 1 prize left to take in this Lugia mirror to move on to the finals. How does Nero respond? Feels like there's only really one good answer, which is gusting up that Cinchino. But then again, you're just praying that your opponent doesn't have a gust of their own.
They had to Luminion for the last one, so ideally they don't have another one in hand yet.
Playing also 1 less count of boss's orders than the usual Lugia lists. We do see R2D2 opting for the 3 boss's orders. Down 2 already. Maybe thinking about this Luminion here. It is going to get benched. Now it just comes down to, do you have boss? Do you have the energies in your deck? If you do, not much we can do. Yeah.
Thinking about maybe Ino knocking out the hands.
Which I really don't like, because you have the gift energy on the hands. Our opponent is drawing up to 7 anyways, but they don't need anything from their hand. All they really need is just 4 energies, and we're boss KOing the Luminion? I don't love this, because
Yeah.
as long as our opponent has enough energies in the deck, has 4 energies, one of them can even be a DTE, we do lose the game. Even just a boss's orders takes it there.
Yeah.
We can just boss up literally anything. Archeops, Squawk, Luminion, and attack with Iron Hands. I guess in that sense, maybe it does make sense because you lose to boss anyways.
Yeah, but at least you got to make them find the second Cinchino.
Yeah, I agree, right?
Because that's the hard thing to find is Pokemon. You know, the energy is easy.
Yep, and that is going to be the game for R2D2. Wait, I just realized, didn't R2D2 discard his Cinchino early game? He discarded one of his Cinchinos early game. Unless I'm mixing it up with game 2, I don't think he had another Cinchino in the deck. Which means I think we definitely should have been KOing that Cinchino. Maybe a costly mistake. As we move on to our finals here, Lugia versus Zard.
At any rate, rather R2D2 moving on. Nero with a commendable top 4 performance. Very nicely done.
Congrats. As now we see who is going to take it home. R2D2 from the United States or BML from Spain. Charizard, Pidgeot, Lugia V-Star. 2 decks that need no introductions. Pretty standard lists, I would say.
Historically pretty bad for Charizard in the matchup.
Yep, it basically just comes down to how well can Lugia set up and how fast do the Minchinos hit the board, because Lugia has a tough time KOing through a Zard unless they have the Minchinos down. And the Minchinos also have only the Chinchinos have only 110 HP, so they are vulnerable to Dust Noir.
Yeah, I think
But
the
there
addition
is
of Dust Noir kind of has shifted it slightly more closer to even, but still it feels like Lugia
yeah.
has it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially no Sinnoh in this list, no Enhanced Hammer, no weird special energy tech. Um, a lot of techs in this Zard list, but none really help against Lugia. So it's going to be interesting. It's definitely a matchup that can go either way. Sometimes it just feels like the Lugia can't do anything to these Zards, especially if they're setting up slow or not able to find their Minchinos. But sometimes it just feels unwinnable. If you're staring down two Chinchinos that are fully charged up, one-shotting your Zardy-X, it can get pretty tough.
Yeah.
Also, the recent addition of the Wellspring Ogre Pawn, another thing to worry about since Zard doesn't really play Manaphy nowadays.
Yep. Early turns, if you can get that set up very quickly. Take out the maybe double Charmander or a Pidgey and a Charmander.
Yep. Definitely nerf their setup. Can get tricky to win from there as the Charizard, but it's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to see how it goes, especially with, I'd say R2D2's list is a little weaker into Charizard than a standard Lugia list since we're not running the Word Ear.
Yeah.
So there's no surprise one-hit KO potential. If there's no Minchinos on the board, there is no one-hit KO. Also playing cards like Bundle and Fluttermane that don't necessarily help you against the Charizard matchup. So it's going to be interesting.
Luis still chatting. You gotta put your stream up, man. We gotta see the match. Come on.
Yeah, I agree with no Manaphy and Zard as well. I don't think it's a card that is necessarily worth the inclusion. If I could have a 70 card Charizard deck, sure, I'd probably play Manaphy, but
Yeah.
that wouldn't get me very far in tournament if I could play 70 cards.
What would be the best deck if you could just add as many cards as you wanted?
Charizard has to be up there, right? I don't know if you've seen people playing in those, like, people have been doing, like, for fun, especially around the holidays, the, like, you can play as many ace specs as you want
Yeah.
tournaments. Dude, I want to play that because Charizard, we were talking about earlier in the stream how it just has so many good ace specs that it can choose from. What if I just didn't have to choose?
One turn you Prime Catcher, next turn you Unfair Stamp.
Yeah, like, forget about Counter Catcher Stamp. I'm doing Prime Catcher Stamp. Prime Catcher Stamp, stamp you to
With
2
the Grand
on,
Tree active already.
yeah, and I've got Hero's Cape on my Zard, so you have a tough time KOing it. If you do KO it, my next Zard is doing 50 more damage because of Max Belt.
Okay, but
Could be
then the
fun.
opponent has Megaton Blower, and they get rid of the tree and.
Then you got me, dude. What else? Is there something you could? Is there another ace spec that I'm forgetting about?
I mean, Scoop Up is pretty good.
Scoop Up in Zard is gross because you don't play. You don't have to play Turo. That's gross. Oh, that's insane.
I see,
Surely
Luis. Okay, we got
that
a little
format
bit
would
of
be
a
great.
break because the Lugia player is cooling down a little bit, but it should be soon.
Does make sense. Remember to stay hydrated. Was a long set, probably a little stressful too.
Back to back sets as well after the Lost Box.
True. Back-to-back sets. Both of them went to game 3. So I can't imagine they were a walk in the park. Actually, all of R2D2's sets in this top 16 have been game 3. Round 1 against Zard Pidgeot, he was able to clutch it up game 3. Then beating a Lost Box, now beating a Lugia Mirror. Zard Pidgeot is the final opponent once again. For sure going to take a breather. Especially because this matchup requires a lot of thinking. Zard is a deck that has so many options, so many plays, some weird tricky stuff with prize cards that you can do with some Briars and some Dustnors. Your legacy placement is also very important in this matchup, I feel. A lot of people might just be inclined to throw the legacy on a Chinchino. Oh, it's my best attacker in this matchup. Let me make it a 0 prizer. That's actually a mistake because you don't want to get Curse Blasted. Curse Blast does obviously go through the legacy. So I think the legacy is probably best placed on something like an Iron Hands or a Wellspring. Maybe even a support Pokemon that is going to get one shot by the Zard.
Take a quick look at how our top 16 is, our top cut has shook it out here.
Like you mentioned, Zard was the story of the day with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Zards, but only one remains, BML. And we saw
Take a look
2
at
Lugias.
the matchups here.
Yeah, saw round 1 actually lost to Reggie Drago. Wait, that's really interesting. And his other loss of the tournament was Nira, who was our semi-finalist that just lost the Lugia mirror. So I'm sure he is glad to not see them again. But other than that, very solid matchups, hitting 2 Goldengos and also beating a Lugia on his way up. But R2D2, on the other hand, lost to a Thorns. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does.
And lost to a Terrapagos Dusknoir.
And hit by
And
the Bayonet as well, yeah.
Yeah, losing to Bennett. So our Bennett player did make it to the top cut, unfortunately lost round 1 to Alugia. So showing us that the matchup's actually doable. But other than that, this is going to be the the third Zard Pidgeot that R2D2 plays, and I know I recognize that name from online tournaments. Surely he has a lot of experience against Zard. It's a deck that's been relevant for a while, so surely if you don't got experience with it, you wouldn't be in the finals of such a big tournament.
Well, oh, I know what we can check. Let's see. NA has started.
Ooh.
Let's take a look at what they've got going on.
Let's see the metagame. I love to see the metagame of online tournaments because some of the trends, they don't always carry over to real life tournaments, but sometimes you do have some layover, and in good NA fashion.
Drago is here to stay.
Yup, Drago on the top. Second, the Zard Pidgeot. So still such a good deck in the format. Thorns Pult at third.
And winning.
Thorns Pult there was only 8 Thorns Pult players. It was a 4% deck in our EU. But all the way up at third in NA. That's pretty interesting.
Lugia back again as well, actually. A little surprising in both tournaments.
I think even Lugia might just be seeing a little bit more play because it's so strong in the next format. People are hyping it up. Maybe people are getting ready for it a little bit. We also see Snorlax stall have double the amount of players in this tournament than it did in the EU counterpart.
Our stall players doing pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, Snorlax is usually a deck that doesn't have a lot of players, but all the players that it does have are usually winning. Yeah, I mean, only 2 losses, and it's a deck with Pekarunt, and like Lugia, which, yeah, but how are we going to count the bye? So yeah, Snorlax still proven itself to be very strong. 3-0 right now on the big bad wolf of the format, Reggie Drago. Because if you have a 3-0, if you have like a good matchup into the best deck in the format, why wouldn't you play it?
What fun stuff do we have here?
We got Reggie's, which was made the top 16 of our last late night. We have a Cloth, not Terrapagos.
Straight Cloth. Serena is pretty spicy.
Serena's spicy. 1 Ogerpon Noivern, which is always a deck that is... It's scary. There's a lot of decks that just don't want to see it pop up.
Gouging Fire is one that is semi-real, actually.
Yeah, Gouging Fire, and surprisingly, Charizard Greninja is semi-real as well. It's gotten some day 2s multiple times at regionals. It's pretty funny.
Hold on. What is this?
Hold on. Yeah. It's gotten a dub. Let's see. Dreadnought? Hold on. You should open the list of the guy who
that won.
Won. We've got some cooks. 2-3 Choodle Dreadnought line. Was able to take it? I guess it's a Crispin. You're just attacking with Swinging Sphere? What do you do if you fight a stage 2? Do you just lose?
It's a great question.
Dreadnought like doesn't get hit if you do more than like 180 damage, I guess. I think, right? Is it that one? Prevent all damage by attacks. So I guess that's how you beat Zard.
What is the other attack on Executor also?
150, attach any basic energy from your hand. So it's
Okay.
like you can get your next one set up, but I don't think that's helping you beat Charizard too much. I think really your line against the Charizard is probably that Dreadnought stall.
Interesting deck.
I mean, we did actually see an Alolan Executor EX deck make day 2 of a regional. Someone got day 2 at a regional with Ogre Pawn with this Alolan Executor EX, and also Toadscrew EX, I believe, was in the deck list. So definitely some sauce. We got some. I love to see the creativity. This
Yeah.
game's got so many cards that it's a shame that a lot of them don't get play.
Archaladon, another one that people are hyping up recently.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how that's gonna translate to our meta in this weekend's regionals.
It feels like a little bit people don't quite know how they want to build it yet.
Yeah, I've seen some Starmie stuff, some Dialga stuff. We even got Rick Astley playing in this tournament.
Basically, like some people playing Caesar, some people playing the Starmie, some people playing, some people aren't playing
Dialga.
Relicanth.
Yeah.
Some have Dialga, some don't.
Surely, I don't know what you're doing, but who cut the Radiant Greninja? Surely, why is the Radiant Greninja number less than...
Oh no.
I don't know who did that. I don't know how to build this deck, but surely Radiant Greninja's got a slot in that deck.
Feels like you need it, yeah. Although,
Do you
here's
see
the reason why. Look at this.
5-1? Wow. I mean, I said it earlier, but if you can have a positive matchup into Drago, you are a happy camper in this meta.
And decent against Gardevoir as well.
Yeah, I saw a lot of lists just running like 3 to 4 jamming towers just because they do not want to lose to Gardevoir. Not only does jamming tower stop TM Evo, stops their initial setup, it also slows down and caps their damage. And usually they only play one stadium, so you can kind of force jamming tower to stay in play for the rest of the game. If they do get rid of it and they KO you with a Drifloon, basically jamming tower reads take a prize. So very strong card in that deck, especially in that matchup.
Pretty standard.
We see Yoshi main, bro. I think that's another Smash player. Surely it's a Smash player with that name, right?
Has to be. So that's our look at NA. It's ongoing. Stream for Top Cut will be later on tonight. So
good luck to everyone playing in that. Don't forget, if you make the top 16, you can stream your games to us in the Discord. Get it featured on stream. Get some beautiful commentary over it.
We've stalled just long enough to have a match ready for us. Here we go.
Perfect.
I'm
excited to see also who wins the coin flip. I feel like it's pretty important in the Zard Lugia matchup. Seems like our Zard player did win the coin flip here as we go double Poffin. Where are our Pidgeys?
Ooh.
I'm hoping that they're in hand. That is definitely not what you want to see game 1 of finals here. The deck is called Charizard, but it's not much without a Pidgeot, especially because in this matchup you're trying to hit your big combos and no Pidgeys in hand. So we're rocking this game no Pidgey. That means BML's only draws this game if we don't take a Pidgey out of the prizes is going to be Pheasantipity, which is a huge liability because it gives Lugia an answer to taking 2 prizes without going through the Zardy-X. Great ball for a Chops. That's a good sign. Ultra Ball is going to be the faded double Chops. It is
only
not.
one. Not bad though.
Yeah, I can't complain. See a second Lugia get benched here.
I know. We'll find us the second Chops and we read the wind, discard it.
You're calling it? We have Pidgey. or Pidgeot, I mean, not helpful. And man, if I'm BML, I'm like, man, why'd you Iono? BML could have taken the first 2 prizes because he had Candy, Zard, Charmeleon, and Ultra Ball to get a Dusclops. He had a very, very strong hand. This one, not so much.
Yeah, vacuum not super helpful. Often's not super helpful without Pidgeys to grab.
Yeah, if you had Pidgeys, this would be great, but sadly do not. As we read the wind, BML again just taunting the concede button. But no, I think you can still get there. Double chops hitting the bin though, definitely not a good feeling.
Okay,
Arvin,
Arvin bails it out a little bit.
top decking Arvin is a pretty good feeling though. See the Poffin get played. Third Mandarin, double Duskull. If you're R2D2, do you think he caught on to the Pidgeys being prized?
Perhaps, yeah.
Either that or you're like, man, how the hell did you get to finals? What are you doing? Playing Zard with no Pidgeys.
This Force Seal Stone can get us the Charizard EX that we need to start attacking here.
Now the question becomes, do you value instant charge here, or do you value this 180 damage being placed on to this Lugia V-Star? I kind of like the pressure that this 180 puts, right?
Yeah,
Lugia is a
without
deck.
the Pidgeys, we need to take some prizes, right?
Yeah, we need to take some prizes. We need some pressure. The hand is not going to be great, though. Hand leaves a lot to be desired, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You can't always have the perfect game. So we see the Burning Darkness. Also, relatively safe because there's no Minchinos on R2D2's board, so this Zard is sticking for at least 1 turn after this one. No Word Deer as well in this list.
We also don't know that they have the Lugia V-Star yet.
That is true. It is still 1 piece to get. Most of the hard work is done. You have your double chops in the discard.
Okay, they just have
There's
it. Sure.
Lugia V-Star. I guess he was debating, do I evolve the active, the bench? Do I attack with this V-Star? Do I try to attack with a fresh V-Star? Those decisions to make there. I wonder if maybe we should just retreated into the other Lugia, attack that, attack with that one.
We also do have, we took the Water Ogre Pond last turn. There's a thought of if we have Boss's Orders pumping this turn, right?
KOing both Duskulls is a pretty good line. Is that what we're going to see? As we see the Gust, we could also see just,
Okay, sure.
taking 2 on this Lugia, or sorry, with this Lugia on this Rotom.
I do like that as well. It is accepting that the Lugia V-Star is going to go down as a follow-up, but...
You are taking the first 2, so you're pretty happy with that. I would love to see a Minchino get benched here. I don't know if, of course, I don't have R2D2's hand knowledge. No Minchino get benched. This is a pretty good spot to be in, honestly, if you are BML here. You can Gust an Archeops, and this just forces, basically, Minchino's never going to be able to one-shot your Charizard in 1 turn. So by KOing an Archeops, you're making this Lugia even more safe and making it very hard for R2D2 in the late game.
Serendipity draw finds an Arvin.
We're going to see the Arvin first. Are we seeing the boss? Are we valuing setting up another Charizard? Are we playing aggressive with this Gust? Oh, the boss on the Lugia V.
Taking 2 prizes this way.
Yeah. I would have maybe just liked to
see...
see...
energy somewhere.
I don't know. I don't like this bench of the Fez. I mean, I get it, but I think if you bench the Fez, you kind of just have to go for a Chops. Because now the R2D2's line is just very simple, right? He can go boss KO the Fez, bench him in Chino.
It has double turbo. We can't quite boss
That is
kill.
true. That is true. You are correct. Forgot about the double turbo. So that does make this play a little stronger. There is always the possibility of retreating and then jetting the Lugia back in, but that is more pieces.
Finally find our first Minchino there. Ultra Ball away. Okay, the Ogre Pawn is no longer a thought.
We do see the bundle get grabbed, so I think we're trying to go around this Charizard. Maybe has the hands in play, or sorry, in hand. Obviously doesn't want to reveal it before we play the bundle. Don't want to give our opponent more information. Now, what is the play going to be?
Yeah,
It
there it
is the
was.
hands and the legacy. There you go. We're taking 2. And if we retreat this DT off the Lugia, now all we need to do is boss the
Serendipity,
Fezandipity
yeah.
for a KO, or we have the Chinchino.
Lots of options for the Lugia here. This is a really great spot.
Again, I would have loved to see this Archeops get KO'd because it just means on the following turn, if you're able to KO the Minchino, they don't have a way to go through your Charizard. You're just getting rid of some of their outs. As we see, Dusclops is the top deck. It's a decent one. It doesn't exactly help in this scenario. Turo is a great pickup here. You can Turo up this Fez. Lugia then doesn't become an answer. Gus Lugia, that is.
Thinking about Arvin instead.
Also pretty interesting that we bench this Radzard and attach. I mean, I do like it. The guaranteed attacker, of course. But opting to just forget about Pidgey for the rest of this game makes a lot of sense. I mean, this Pidgey, it's a little too late to set up Pidgey. We do see Counter Catcher Defiance Band get grabbed. I think this Minchino is going to go down this turn.
The target.
We vacuuming away our own Defiance. Now that our opponent has 2 prize cards remaining, we're doing 300 damage. That's enough to KO anything in this Charizard deck, or in this Lugia deck, sorry.
It's 2 cards out of the hand for Iono proofing.
So now we are threatening game next turn if our opponent doesn't take a prize here, because we can Dusknoir the Lugia to finish it off. But that's if they don't hit tails off this and hit the Gust.
Well,
which they do. Yep, and we see BML immediately hovering that concede button. He's just waiting for his
yep.
opponent to show him the Luminion boss. So there is always the chance that both of them are prized. But no, there it is.
Game 1 going to Lugia.
In a pretty interesting game, double Pidgey being prized is not what you want to see as a Zard player.
Would it have mattered even? I mean, that game, it felt like Lugia was just so far ahead regardless.
Yeah, I think we had a chance to maybe make a comeback. If that counter catcher went towards the Archeops, I really disagree, but maybe there's something that I'm missing. I think in this matchup, you really just want to get rid of the threat of Okos on your Lugia, and killing an Archeops is a great way to prevent that from happening. But then again, not sure it really mattered there, since it seemed like R2-D2 had everything he needed to just go 2-2 in that matchup.
It is really nice as a player to just be playing a deck with 4 bosses orders, right? You will find the targets. People need to bench these support Pokemon. It's kind of this inevitability.
Exactly. Especially when your Pidgeot is prized, like Fez kind of has to come down. Fez and Rotom definitely cards that if you don't have to bench them, you won't as Charizard, but I mean, you don't always have that luxury, right?
I feel most games it feels like you have to bench at least 1 V Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely had games where I've had all 3 on my bench as well. Luminion, Rotom, and Fezandipity. Now we wait as game 2 is about to get set up. There you go, the challenge coming in. BML on game point here. R2-D2 looking to win the entire tournament. All he needs is 6 more prize cards.
This time, perhaps Charizard gets to go first.
I would assume we're going first here. Just the evolution advantage is huge in this matchup. Especially when they're playing Wellspring Ogerpon, you do not want your Pidgeys to get sniped before you even get to evolve them. Looks
If
like we
we
do
have
get to go
Pidgeys at all
first.
this game, we'll find out.
Oh, mulligan. On both sides, so no advantage necessarily. And already we have more Pidgeys than we did last game.
Love to see it.
So we get the Charmander start. This hand again leaving a little something to be desired. This is definitely looking like a Cleffa hand if we were going second, but no Cleffa in the deck, of course. And we're
These are
opting
all scary. You don't really want to discard any of these to get a Rotom, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have the Luminion for Arven, Candy, Sealstone. You kind of have your combo already. You have the Ultra Ball. So you low-key got everything you needed.
R2 finds the heads on a capturing aroma. Might be an Archeops searched. They seem to be 100% in finding the Carmine turn 1 or something like that. Okay,
Did we fail search the heads?
I guess
Do we
so.
have... Oh, okay, that makes sense. We're trying to Iono. I was going to say, why don't we just grab an Archeops, but that makes sense. We don't want Archeops going to the bottom of the deck. And again, this is still a very, very solid hand for our Zard player here. Still has the combo, as long as Sealstone is not prized. Ultra Ball gets us there. Now we even have the addition of Dusclops and some Buddy Poffins. Buddy Poffins going to get us more Charmanders, backup attackers, Dusclops threatening a KO on the Lugia. So this is pretty solid. This all just banks on Sealstone not being prized.
Yeah. Read the wind there, getting 1 Archeops into the discard pile.
Messicos would also be big. Nope.
No luck.
Would have made it so that we got to save our Sealstone on something else. We have not searched the deck yet. Hey, it is there. Okay, we're good. Wait, we don't have a V Pokemon. Wait, I am trolling.
Yeah, Luminion was going to be the target before, right? But it had to get sent to the bottom.
Yep, I'm trolling. Completely forgot that we don't have a V Pokemon. So this does get a little trickier. We don't have the attack this turn. Or basically we have to forfeit either the Pidgeot or the attack. Which I think 95% of the times I would go for a Pidgeot first, but maybe not.
We're swinging.
Or we're going for the aggressive play. BML seems to be a much more aggressive player than I am. I guess with no Minchinos, you know your Zard is safe. You have an extra turn, but you are just banking on these 2 prize cards that this Lugia V is going to give you. So we see a Cursed Blast, 50 on the active Pokemon. Now Burning Darkness doing 210 damage, since the Dusclops was generous enough to give your opponent a prize card.
The low cost of increasing your own damage.
There you go, 260 on the Lugia V. More than enough to take a KO, but this board leaves something to be desired. We see Candy Duskull.
Okay.
Candy's a very good card to hit off the prizes here, but again, we're just kind of top decking. And if, honestly, even if R2-D2 just hits this Sardiax with the Tempest Dive, I really don't hate it because he knows his Lugia is safe. He knows most likely he's not getting gusted, since just we're preying on some top decks. And if this Zardiax goes down, we're in trouble.
Attaches the legacy. Carmine doesn't find a second Archeops.
If we find a V-Star, this might just have to be a solo Archeops game. We have the Ultra Ball, though, for the V-Star. Does it discard an Archeops?
Yeah, BML trying to figure out why the Professor's Research wasn't played instead of the Carmine.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. Oh, we're just drawing less cards? Yeah, those cards would have definitely been great to draw. I think it's a solo Archeops game, which is usually not a winning strategy against against this deck. Honestly, I don't love this Summoning Star because I think you do have an extra turn. Because the odds that your opponent has Thornton Stretcher as the 2 cards in your hand are relatively low, right? So you did have an extra turn to read the wind, as Zard is only doing 210 damage right now. So I don't love this aggressive play. Again, both of these players are a lot more aggressive than playing a lot more aggressive than I would be.
Nestball finds a Pheasantipity, but no Pokemon was knocked out last turn, so no flipping of a script yet.
Yet is a very important word. We see the Great Ball grabbing the bundle. I do think this Charizard has to be the KO, though.
Yeah. Okay, we get a research this time. Still no Archeops. I guess it doesn't matter anymore, but
Great Ball again, finding a Chinchino. That's a decent piece.
we can start building this up, but only one Primal Turbo a turn makes it a little slower.
Yeah.
We are knocking out the Charizard, and there's no Pidgeot yet.
So this Flip the Script and this top deck are going to have to be strong. Charizard does have a lot of outs to getting this combo here, but also a lot of tech cards like that Cologne, the Vacuum, the Collapsed, Thornton cards not really helping here. Flip the Script again.
Ultra Ball
We do have the
finds
Ultra Ball.
Pidgeot.
Does find Zard if we have the energies.
That's just not enough yet, though.
But again, even if we Candy Zard and we kill this Lugia for 1 prize, the Chinchino is just going to answer back. I don't know why we were playing this game so aggressive. So it looks like we are just going to just take the knockout.
To it, yeah.
We do have the fire energies in the deck. Oh, wait, we can boss the Chinchino this turn, actually. Never mind. This isn't that bad. It looks like the 3 cards off of Pheasantipity were pretty good. I take it back. Again, KOing the Chinchino means that your Zard is safe. Maybe debating, is it the Archeops? Is it the Chinchino? It's a tough call, as we do get the Chinchino knockout. Once again, living by a thread, finding the exact cards he needed off of Pheasantipity.
It wasn't the full, like you could have had a Pidgeot in here, right? And that would be even better. But for what it was exactly correct.
Which is crazy, going from a 0 card hand to another Candy Zard and a Gust. Can't really complain too much. But now there's plays to be made. We can Gust up this Fez, take 2, go down to 1 prize. We win in double Gust.
We need to find another attacker to start setting up, though.
Yeah, benching the Bear here would be really good. Just because Bear is an attacker that doesn't require any energies if your opponent goes down to 2 prizes. Or, sorry, 1 prize. 2 prizes, he needs 1 energy. Which is definitely doable.
And there is this Legacy is on this V-Star, so...
Ooh, this is a really strong play. If we're able to Gust this Fez and have the Chinchino again to threaten the Zard.
There it is.
We do.
Oh, there's double turbo again.
Yep, you're right. Good call. Good call.
No Pidgeot again.
So we have the Fez. We are able to flip the script here.
Unfair stamp.
These top decks are crazy. Nestball could get us a second Pidgey, could get us Rotom. I guess he's praying for some...
We still have V-Star power, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and draws into the Sealstone.
Oh.
And I think that's game. Because we are able to Arven for Candy, get us a Dusknoir with... okay, or we can just Fez into Candy Dusknoir. My bad. BML, I was not familiar with your game.
Best top decks in the business here.
That is crazy, as we see the 3 prize turn.
Yep. Full 2
Legacy.
prizes from that Lugia because it was an ability. It wasn't damage from an attack, so the legacy energy does not kick in.
Yep, and then whatever he promotes is not going to like a 330 damage Burning Darkness for the last prize. We are going to a game 3 here. That was a roller coaster of a game.
Yes. The solo Archeops, which almost seemed like it was enough, but then the insane top deck from the Pheasantipity.
Yeah, I think both players played very aggressive and a little risky on their draws in the late game, but able to somehow squeeze it out. And if that DT wasn't on that Lugia, if it was another energy, makes me wonder if we would have seen a completely different game because Dusknoir wouldn't have been able to take a 3 prize turn there. Of course, can't really Dusknoir when your opponent has 1 prize left to take, or you just kind of lose the game.
Oh, look, our rank has broken here.
Oh, our rank is oh,
Oh
no.
no.
It's also what happens when I boot up on TCG Live. See the challenge. BML looks like he's practicing for Birmingham. Not too sure if R2D2 is going. His profile does say he's American, so it was a little far.
Going into a final game here of the finals of Late Night 233. You, the champion, is here.
Zard versus Lugia. This final game will take it all. Whoever wins this becomes the Late Night EU 233 champion. Again, 2 entirely unique decks from what we saw last week, which I find very interesting. We're in a pretty good meta. People are talking about how Regidrago's the BDIF and how it's winning everything, but there's definitely other decks that can compete with it.
Yeah, super wide format.
And Lugia getting to go first here is a huge advantage. We have seen the player going first win. Ooh. This is a hand where I'm glad I'm going second. You have Ultra Ball for Luminion, for Arvin, for Poff and Sealstone, but again, you have Luminion and Fez benched. R2D2 starting the bear, which
also not great.
Also not great. Is it just gonna be an attached pass?
Oh no.
Oh, okay, the battle of the bricks. Duskull top deck is pretty good. So now essentially no Lugia V down turn 1 means that you're essentially going third. You are letting your opponent use a supporter. You're letting your opponent go essentially first. It's going to have the evolution advantage. Although this hand, again, isn't fantastic.
Yeah, the follow-up next turn is like, what's going on here?
It like kind of has to be like Nestball, Sealstone, Rotom for Poffin, or like do it in whatever order you want. Like, I think I'm using the Sealstone to grab Rotom, and I'm just putting all 3 of my 2 prize liabilities in play. I've got Collapsed. I'll get rid of one of them, I guess. As we do just see the pass.
Preempting perhaps an INO from the other side.
That would be a pretty good call.
But I feel like if you're playing a supporter as Lugia here, you want one that discards something.
Yeah, let's see. Looking at the Lugia list, there is...
Jacques. Okay, Jacques does get to the Archeops to be discarded.
Do we have Ultra Ball? We do have Ultra Ball. There's the combo, the bread and butter that you're looking for.
Recovering, but we're a turn behind, as we said.
But again, I don't think you get super hard punished. And not getting a Rotom here... Your follow-up is just essentially pass, right?
Oh,
you have
the
a
Charizard is nice.
There was like no real top deck that could have got you anywhere. Maybe we're Sealstoning for an Iono here just to see a new 6. Nope, now we're Sealstoning for the Rotom.
We could have done it last turn.
Yeah, I would have loved to see 3 extra cards,
okay,
basically.
We're getting rid of the fish at the same time.
Yeah. This could have been done last turn, though. We could have had 3 additional cards in hand to play with.
Would it have mattered? Nah, not really.
Well, we could have Iono this turn. Right? Because we would have drew into the Iono. Well, actually, it's weird because our top deck would have been different odds, but do see the V-Star. So now R2-D2 looking like he's in a great position. Even able to jet up the Lugia, so not
Yep.
having to waste energies on the retreat. Just don't put a DT on this thing, and you
I think
do
we
have a
can
Tempest
avoid it
Tide.
this time. Yeah. The collapsed is going to be a little annoying for a bit.
Yeah, does limit R2-D2 to only one Minccino, so not able to bench like the double threat.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
and
Never
we're
mind.
not using Mincinos for the rest of the game. What are these games, dude? These stream games have been crazy.
How are you going to knock out a Charizard? I guess we're just not.
We're going around some Charizards, and if there's a game to go around Charizard, it's this one. It's the game where your Charizard player had to bench Fez, Lumineon, and Rotom. So, I mean, we have 4 directly there with Fez and the Rotom. The last 2 gotta come with like a Hands, a Wellspring,
Wellspring would be huge, yeah.
2 1-prizers. Thankfully for you, you are killing the Fez, so there's no flip the script unless we have a stretcher in hand, which we do.
You want to rebench the Festivity, though?
Yeah, and then if you rebench it, then it can get tough.
Or just
We're
take 4
debating,
prize
do we keep
cards
the
from a single
collapsed?
Festivity.
He opts to keep the collapsed. It's pretty interesting. Do you bench the Fez? We did also Ultra Ball away our Turo,
Yeah.
which means that we...
Yeah, we are. Here we go.
Yep, so these 2 prize liabilities are here to stay. The only card that we can use to get rid of them is that Thornton. We're counter-catching before we have information of what this Pheasantipity is giving us, or are we just Ionoing first?
Yeah, we're ioning. We're just going to hit it, you know?
Sure. I don't know if I agree with that either, because you had the Zard in hand, you had a piece. Now you have Candy Pidgeot, but you're missing a piece. Oh, you do have to flip the script. Maybe the Iona there was correct first. Second Candy. Beautiful. So
Never
you do have your
punish.
combo. You do have the chops. Now we're playing the game of can you find Double Boss? My favorite game.
More likely than you think.
It is pretty likely, considering we got 3 boss in this list, 2 Lumineons, 4 Capturing Aromas, 4 Ultra Balls, 3 Great Balls, Messagoza. All of these uh, are outs to Lumineon, which are outs to boss.
What are we going to do when the fish is gone?
Surely they're gonna reprint like a replacement, right? I feel like they're gonna reprint it as NDD. That's my guess. Also, we do have a bit of counterplay to the double boss. We can Thornton our Rotom here into a 1-prizer, as long as we have a 1-prizer in our discard.
There isn't yet, I don't think.
I don't think so. There's 1 Gust.
Comes the 4 prizes from Pheasantipity. Love to see it. Yeah, we kind of do need to set up something else here, though.
Yeah, we're gonna
I
need...
guess you can turbo to the bear. It's not bad, right?
I think benching hands and being able to turbo it to it would be the better option. We're benching the
You don't
Minccino
have
even though
them.
it's... Huh? What are we doing? Are we trying to bait? We don't play stretcher.
Oh, no.
Did he forget? I think he just forgot. Yeah, BML like looking at the board like, wait, did you just do what I think you did? Okay, now this is a tough ask. Can we get a basic into the discard? And can we Thornton it? Or else we just lose to a Gust. I don't think there's a way to do that here.
It's harder to gust now. They need to find Mezzagoza to be able to play a second Dominion.
Well, no, because we are taking the KO this turn, right? So we are going to free up a bench spot. Okay, we do grab the Thornton, but do we have a 1-prizer in the discard? Oh, he's listening.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have the Duskull in the pitch. Okay,
sure,
we're
sure.
good. We're good.
Yeah.
So now it's potentially... I would like to see a Charmander get benched, but I don't think there's a way to do it. just because we can also two-shot this Zard. That's going to have to be our next best play, but we kind of don't have the time because we have a just Quick Search Briar wins us the game if we're the Charizard player. This is actually quite a tough position. We would have to hit Hands Boss, I think, is the only way we win this. Which means we would have to have an energy in hand to attach to it.
Yeah.
Because we only have one Archeops. Maybe that's why we bench the Minchinos, to have a pivot. Do we have the hands? Do we have the last boss in our deck? Do we have the energy? There's a Nest Ball.
One of the parts.
Or else I think we lose. Also, the third boss can't be prized. The Legacy can't be prized. The hands can't be prized. The hands is not prized. The boss is in the hand.
Do we have an energy? Any energy will do.
Could be a DT. Could be a Legacy. As long as all of your DTs and your Legacy aren't in your hand.
Jet?
The Jet is huge. As long as Legacy and DT is in your hand, you have won this game by going boss, boss, boss.
Boss, boss, boss. Yep.
And there it is. Our late night 233 winner, R2D2, with the most roller coaster, insane Lugia games I have ever seen. Shoutouts to BML. He kept that entertaining. That was a crazy game from the double Chinchino getting discarded. But wow, what a play. And what a tournament this was.
That's it, folks. R2D2, the champion of 233.
Thank you so much to all 196 players who played in this tournament. Thank you to everyone who came and watched. Thank you to everyone playing in the NA tournament right now. Do not, if you want more Pokemon action, do not leave this channel. There's going to be the second tournament, Late Night NA, soon. Top 16 will be streamed on this very channel.
Yep. So in a few hours, there will be some more Pokemon action tonight. But for now, I'm Nate. This has been Dario. You can find him at polar_PT. You can find me at Asmodemus if you want to follow us and hear some more of our voices or thoughts or whatever.
Yep.
Hope you've enjoyed your time. If we don't see you tonight, we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Have a great night.